Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I am your host, the Ranting Monkey, and I sound way more excited than I actually am. Hi, guys. How are you? How are you this wonderful? Okay, I can't say wonderful. It is gloomy as shit outside. But how are you this Monday? It looks like a damn Monday out there. Hope you're well. Hope you're avoiding the coronavirus. Hope your family is doing well and that you had a great weekend. I know weekend has lost meaning for a lot of you, the way it has for me. I don't even know what a weekend is anymore. Every day's a weekend when you're unemployed. Isn't that what Timmy's dad, or not Timmy, Kenny's dad said on South Park? Weekends are meaningless when you're unemployed. Oh, right. It's a great scene. I'll give you guys 3 guesses what I forgot to do before the show. Can anybody guess as I shake this bottle here? What time is it there? Out of curiosity, says Dangerous. It is 7:43 in the a.m. We'll get to weather and traffic here shortly. No, 7:30. I was going to do the show last night. Somebody asked me right after the game stream, "You going to do the show?" I'm like, yeah. And then I played Fallout for about another hour after we finished. And I was done. I was like an old man again. Like, I can't stay up past midnight, you guys. Oh, God. Those of you who guessed medicine, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Pinkalo, who says, should I feel guilty that it's my day off? Absolutely not. Enjoy every day off you get. Look, we work for days off. That's what we do. We go to work so we can pay our bills, and you work long enough and hopefully eventually get to where you just get days off until the end of your time. It's a weird cycle we have. I did send my invites, James, and you're right. I have not told Susan that my dick is available for her. I should do that. We're past the opening of the show. Those of you from YouTube will have to listen to this shit and decide whether or not I'm monetizable. So go fuck yourself. The opening is done. I'm allowed to say fuck and say some dirty shit. Y'all can calm down. You know what? I wanted to talk about them for a minute. And not about them specifically, but it brings them up. There's been a lot of talk about Twitter's Trust and Safety Council. Not Twitter, Twitch. My bad. Because Twitch has recently hired somebody for their Trust and Safety Council who thinks they're a deer. Or they do work for them. It's come out that people know that they think they're a deer. It's a trans woman, trans deer, who thinks gamers are mostly white supremacists. This is somebody they put on their Trust and Safety Council. Yeah, trust and safety. Somebody who thinks they're a deer. I'm not joking. And neither were they when they said it. Repeatedly. But we have these Trust and Safety Councils all over the internet. YouTube has one, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, who else? Everybody. All of these fucking companies have Trust and Safety Councils. We have to go out there and find out who to trust and who to safety. They're largely made up of humorless dicks. Humorless dicks. And this is where you guys who have to watch this that work for YouTube come into play. Humorless dicks. Somewhere along the line, we replace sense of humor with sense of outrage. And it's pretty universal. But sense of outrage has been there a long time, but they used to be separate things. They used to be separate things. You used to be able to make a joke. And people go, oh, okay, that's in bad taste. I don't like it. I'm going to go over here and watch something I do like. Now we go, we have to stop this now. This came to me. I was thinking as I was out there rolling my candles for the show. Legal candles, dude. I don't partake of the weed, Mr. YouTube man who has to watch me right now. I was thinking, if ever comes a day that I, for whatever reason, whether it's to the great work that I am allowed to do with my friends here on YouTube or some other manner, get some measure of fame. And people go back and they decide to pour through these streams. There are so many things that I've said since I've been on YouTube that if I became noteworthy of any way, they would just be like, did you know he said this? Or even worse, did you know he was friends with somebody who said this? I mean, even in matters where it's clearly a joke, we see people just torn down because you can't joke about that, you dirty animal. We're probably not allowed to call people dirty animals anymore, are you? Nope. We lost that with the Mexicans, M13 gang that was beheading people. You called them animals, and suddenly you're not allowed to call people animals anymore because that's dehumanizing to people who behead their enemies as a show of force. Huh. You can't even call people animals anymore. MS-13, yes, I should remember the S part because that makes it sound more correct. Sounds like there's something wrong with them, like MS at least. They sound more RTD, retarded. But hey, whatever. MS, whatever. Filthy animal, thank you. Look, we can't even call people animals when they're acting animalistic. Our sense of outrage has just grown. And I do say I'm not above getting outraged. I'm not trying to put that on anyone else. But collectively, it's like a virus. It's the Wuhan outrage virus. We have this inability to just sit down and let people have a little bit of fucking fun. Oh my God, he told a joke. He must hate the Jews and the blacks and the Mexicans and who else could he hate? He hates everyone. He's a racist. Yeah, it's funny to me. In a really twisted way. Because I know this. I honestly pray. I want to get bigger, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to be PewDiePie big and be like, yes, cash one check and retire. It'd be great. That's never going to happen. But if we even got like 10 times the audience we did right now, something happened. Me and Jack have an exchange that just somehow picks up on the internet. People come to watch. We're going to get destroyed for everything we've said throughout the. There will be people who just like, you are the devil incarnate. And we'll be like, it's a joke, bitch. We need that as a slogan in the world. It's a joke, bitch. It's a joke, bitch. Even in YouTube's terms of service and their guidelines, you guys. They don't tell us what we can and can't say. They just give us guidelines. Because if they tell us specifically, then they can't kick us off when we don't break the rules, right? They have exceptions in there for jokes. They do. There's exceptions for jokes. But you can't use jokes just to say mean things. Like, but wait a minute. What? Can I make offensive jokes or not? Who gets to decide if I'm being mean in that joke? The vast majority of jokes I tell have some kind of meanness to them. It's not kind to the fetus when we talk about hangers. And frankly, it's probably not kind to women when we do it either. But a lot of jokes come from a horrible place. And what about gallows humor? I mean, this is necessarily dark. It's necessarily dark. Twitter is totally not politically biased. They clearly hired a right-wing deerkin. It was Twitch, wasn't it? Isn't that Twitch? Gamer Vleen, thank you. The best part about that is MSM called MS-13 Mexican, but they're from El Salvador. Don't they have a job that should require research? Yes, they do. Now, there were some news stories that would mention that the gang started in El Salvador. But yeah. I don't think that their job requires research anymore. They basically just read off each other. That's why I am a journalist, you guys. I really am. The poor bastard that's having to listen to this on YouTube right now, settle in. Tell him you could not understand whether or not this was going to be a good or bad one, so you had to listen to the whole thing. Kick your feet up, relax. We're not going to do anything horrible like Facebook where they make those people watch stuff that made them go into counseling. This is a fun show. Just tell them you had to work. I don't know how your guys' job works over there in Twitter or in YouTube land. I give you permission. Tell them, look, hey, I wasn't sure with this guy, so I had to listen to the whole thing for context. By the way, if you see Neo Mohan walking around the halls there, tell him to go fuck himself. Anyway, just listen to the show. It'll be a lot of fun. You'll enjoy this. Chicago Mike, thank you. Monkey, you just described McCarthyism. Which part? I mean, it is, it's this, you can say McCarthyism. I mean, McCarthyism was just the Salem witch trials, which was just the Inquisition. I mean, this shit happens from forever. It just keeps coming back around. I was hoping, you look back at history and like, man, I'm glad I didn't live through that. You know what I mean? Who would have wanted to live during the time of the Salem witch trials in Salem and be like, ooh, there's a very good chance I'm going to be burned alive because somebody doesn't like me. No practicing witch or anything like that, but they could burn me alive just because they don't like me. It's basically what happens now. The ability to falsely accuse somebody, and especially, like I said, this is with jokes. I thought we'd gotten past that. I thought the work done by people like Lenny Bruce, who, by the way, wasn't funny, but stood up and did a lot for free speech in America that he does not get credit for. Because he's just a comedian. He just made it so comedians can say dirty words. He stood up for free fucking speech, you piece of shit. Like him as a comedian or not, the man did wonderful things that he's not recognized for. Everyone expects the outrage Inquisition. Well, that's kind of the point there, right, James? If at any point this gets on a radar anywhere, yeah, Monkey's going to be living under a bridge. We have to look what they did to Crowder, man. Crowder's not even that bad. They beep his swear words. He just occasionally makes a joke about somebody being gay. It's not even edgy humor. It's just, grade school humor. No offense to Crowder. I like Crowder. Don't get me wrong. But the stuff that he got in trouble for is grade school stuff. You're lispy queer. The actual intelligent part of the jokes is absolutely lost because all people focused on was lispy queer. His comeback to that, where he went through and apologized, is one of the wittiest things I've seen on YouTube. That originated on YouTube, not them, showing somebody else, but for an original piece on YouTube, that was fucking fantastic. But if you listen to the insults, they're all grade school shit, man. And yeah, we got to take away his money, you guys. He called Carlos a lispy queer. Sometimes it's not a joke. Sometimes it's just pointing out reality, Carlos. We can see you. Oh, your guardian won't let her ward live under a bridge. Metaphorically speaking, Monkey I'll have to get my own OnlyFans account if they ever catch on to me here. I'll have to dangle my balls on screen while talking about the news. Who would watch that? Who would watch somebody dangle their balls on screen so they could talk about the news on OnlyFans? Don't lie. Some of you would do it. You pay like $5 a month to watch balls dangle. Oh, and I could have a dangle meter and see how warm it is in my house. I don't know what I'm talking about. Not if you never show boobs. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I don't know why it popped into my head. I do, because I'd seen the headline we're going to talk about in a little bit. And I hadn't read the article. The headline is, you know what? I have it pulled up. Why don't I actually tell you what the headline said? Me and we, individual rights, common good, and coronavirus. And the short headline that I saw of it was me versus we. I had to think about, we all know that happens. And I saw a story last night about how coronavirus is really driving us apart. This could be the divide that, if we don't get it under control, is going to cause the civil war. You guys, they didn't come out and say that. They just expressed it in every way without the words. Okay, Native, thank you. It was, haha, I'll call you what you call yourself. I feel like I missed something there. I'll hire you for that OnlyFans plan I had. Gotcha, gamer. Don't worry, I could come up with some things to do on OnlyFans. There's a lot I can't do on here because I have a dirty mind. And YouTube has a trust and safety council, don't you know? Anyway, there's this we versus me thing. And the story last night was more of an us versus them thing. And the one last night irritated me a lot more than this one today did, because the one last night, it was all about how the people who are out there wanting jobs opened, wanting their states open. It's nothing but, can you guys guess what they were? Can you guess? I'll give you a couple of adjectives. White, say it, supremacists. That's right. Just shout them out when you know the answer there. They were right wing. Very good. And they were a bunch of gun supporters. There you go. Yes, right-wing gun supporting white supremacists. That's what they all are. That's who wants everybody to be able to go back out there and catch coronavirus. Officer Buck, thank you so much. Balls and bulletins? You know, that's not a bad name for a show. That's actually not a bad name for a show anyway. Cojones and the news. Sorry, guys, man. I didn't move out of Michigan, and my sinuses are going crazy again because it was 70 the other day and it's like 30 right now. Michigan, I have a theory. We'll get back to the other stuff in a minute. I have a theory that Michigan itself has caused horrible climate problems in the world by claiming a part of land which is quite obviously either Canada or Wisconsin for itself. And Mother Gaia herself is upset by this, and she's punishing us with this shitty weather in Michigan over it. That's what started shitty weather in Michigan. It was the claiming of the UP as part of the mitten. We need to give it back and set things right. I don't care which one we give it to. Give it to Canada or Wisconsin. I don't care. But it's not Michigan. We need to set things right. Officer Buck, thank you again. My nads in the news. Oh, there's so many things you could go wrong, or you could do with that. Testicle and the Times. But yeah, so that's upsetting Mother Gaia. She doesn't like when you try to steal her children's land from them. It's okay to do it from species, but not the landforms themselves. How dare you? How dare you? It's Canada's fault. You think Canada's up there with like a mitten that they just keep stabbing with a pin, and that's why my weather keeps going to shit? Like, we hate Michigan. Michigan weather sucks, you guys. It really does. And I don't know. One day I'll move. I probably never will. I'll probably live here forever and just complain about it the whole time. Havoc, thank you. Cajon News. Cajon News. I like that. That could confuse people, though. People are not always that bright. Where were we? Oh, us versus them. So the article last night was all about how these right-wing, white supremacist, gun-toting jackasses are out there causing the virus to be an us versus them thing. It's just a conservative push that's going to, with the pandemic, it's going to push our national divide beyond the breaking point. I believe is the exact phrasing they used. Like I said, they never said civil war, past the breaking point. Okay, Native, thank you. Tired of explaining to my Brit friends why a portion of Americans want to be out of lockdown and protest to stay in place orders, cultural differences. Have them listen to the show. I'll be happy to explain it to them. And thank you for the donation. Officer Buck, thank you. Clock Nads and News, CNN. Cock Nads and News. Oh, because you can't say the cock, right? Could do, well, Chicken Nads and News would be CNN, right? Thank you for the donation. The news is the one that's making this an us versus them. It really is. They're the ones who play up this as as though the protest. Nobody left wing wants to go to work, you guys. Nobody wants to go to work. And I suppose if you're an AOC supporter, that might be true. But there's a lot of hardworking Democrats out there, a lot of hardworking leftists out there who we disagree with politically, but who still like to make their money and take care of their family and get out of the fucking house once in a while. But no, that's not how it's. Nope. It's all right wing. It's all right wing. These right wing fanatics. They love to use. You don't hear him say left wing fanatic very often, do you? I'm wondering if I've ever heard him say that. I'm not saying I've never heard it, but I can't remember. I know I've heard right wing radical many times and right wing fanatic many times. But that's how that story was premised: us versus them. And they never quite named the us or the them. Just if you're out there and you want the government reopened, then you're probably a them. Probably a them. And you're probably a bastard as well. You're a bastard them. Over on the Streamlabs, thank you so much, Dragon Mage, who says, do you remember the article about school banning best friends because other kids feel left out? Yes, I do, actually. That's got to be, 2 years ago now? 2.5? That's been a while. Can't have any hurt feelings, guys. Yeah, it sucks not having a best friend when you're little, I guess. I often didn't have best friends. We moved a lot. You made a new best friend when you moved, and it took a few months. You don't just go, you're my new best friend. That only works in the movies. There doesn't have to be an us versus them in this. There really doesn't. There's no need for it. I mean, you can have an us versus them as, okay, you think we should stay locked down. We don't think we should. There you go. It's just we can have a discussion, but that's not what it is. It's like, these right-wing radicals, they have guns and they're violently opposed to the lockdown. Well, which ones have been violent? The story actually had like 3 links that it gave to different things that have happened where there was violence. I'm not saying there's been no violence. Okay, Native, thank you. Does Jack know you started his show without him? He's got the link, my friend. He always gets the link. Jack always gets the link. Even when I know it'll be a time he can't be here, be like, I'm going to be sleeping in a couple hours. Like, you're getting the link anyway. Jump on if you can. But remember, Jack isn't paid to be here. He's not my employee. He comes by the goodness of his own heart. That's why you guys should donate to him when he's here, because I can't pay the man. I don't have that much of a following. I don't have Crowder's. Oh, he has Mug Club. What? That's what I need. I need Mug Club, and you guys can buy the mug that I've never made that Stargazer wanted. Just saying. Us versus them. That's how it's being framed. It's a political fight, and not just a political fight, a paramilitary political fight. They have guns, you guys. They're not just storming Capitol buildings. You guys remember the storming of the Capitol building in Michigan? It was horrible. It was this horrible thing that happened in Michigan a couple weeks back. I'm sure you heard about all the death and carnage that happened over it. Over on the Streamlabs. Thank you, Circus Zero. It's not loading. I thought I was going to have that perfectly timed, but I don't have a producer. Thank you, Circus Zero. MNN, Monkey News Network, where we break news and bust balls. You know, if you go all the way back to when this started, my first couple of shows, I believe, were even called Monkey News Network. True story. Past tense. He's over it. I'm not over it, nuts. You said you were over it. That's why I said the mug you wanted. See? You said you were over it. You can't give me any problem. Monk Club. There you go. Monk Club. That's awesome, Sin. How you doing, my friend? As always, let me know if you want a link, man. I know he's always busy in the morning. He's a productive father. Son of a bitch. I mean, I was at one point too. My kids, grow up your kids already, Sin. So you can sit around and do shit with me whatever time you want to. How dare you, sir? Yeah, I read something the other day that actually blew my mind. I did not know this. And it was just a casual mention in an article. They didn't even go over it very much. Do you know where the the idea of social distancing and all this shit came from? Do you know how long that's been around? Do you know why you haven't heard about this before? Why this is the first pandemic that this has been such a big deal over? This idea came up in 2006. 2006. Through the rest of history, and actually including in 2009 when we had a pandemic. All of the pandemics before this one, we just went about our lives. If somebody got sick, they got quarantined. That's how we did things, and that's what happened. This is an idea that a Dr. Robert somebody, I forget his last name, sorry guys, he got from his 14-year-old daughter's science project. Now, unfortunately, the article didn't go into it, and I couldn't find more on the project and all that. But it was in a New York Post story Saturday afternoon, and they mentioned it in passing. This guy thought, well, this is something we should try, and so it got put into the next time we have a big pandemic kind of thing, we're going to throw it in there, and that became this. Suddenly, this scientific consensus, all of it comes from a 14-year-old girl. Like, no, this will work because a dude once thought it might. How was it working? You got two choices. You lock up the sick, or you let everything just go and see where the chips land, because those are literally your only choices. Otherwise, it's going to keep slipping around. But yeah, it was. I read that. I'm like, are you kidding? This wasn't even like a team of scientists were sitting around talking, and this came to them. They're like, maybe if we push masks and people standing 6 feet apart, this would. Came from the science experiments of a 14-year-old girl, and her dad just happened to read it. And now it is national policy, and if you question it, you are a right-wing extremist, racist, gun-toting fuckhead who probably wants to kill all Americans. Seriously, that's where it came from. Monkey's anti-science. Yes, I am totally anti-science when it's not actual science. I get a lot of shit for that because you're anti-science. No. Most of the popular science that we talk about is anti-science. They don't actually follow science. See, instead of coming up with a hypothesis and then testing it and then recording the results and changing that their hypothesis based on the result, they just go, okay, this is what I think. Let's test it. I was obviously wrong. The test must have been wrong. Let's try a new test with that same hypothesis. Holy shit, it was wrong again. These tests are all shit. It's never the hypothesis that is shit. It's the test. And that is not the scientific method. But that's what these shitbags run with, and that's what popular science is based on these days. For instance, the response to coronavirus. There is zero evidence that social distancing works on a major scale. Unless you are talking about literally locking everyone down. Chicago Mike, thank you. Did she blind you with science? Yes. I love science. Science is a wonderful thing. Science helps us. Science is why I'm able to talk to you like this right now. And I don't just mean the fucking microphone I'm talking through and the internet and all that. I'm talking about the drugs that make it so I can sit up straight and actually have a conversation instead of being in a ball crying on my floor. That's all science. The biggest issue with science, the biggest issue is the phrase, the science is settled. Oh, that is, yeah, absolutely. There is some science that I would consider settled. There are things that we know, that fire is hot. The most basic science you can get. Fire is hot. And yes, you can make that a bit more intricate, but just for argument's sake, fire is hot. That is a science that you can prove time and time again. You stick your hand in fire, it's going to burn. You know why? Because fire's fucking hot. Somebody's going to come, actually, it's not the fire. It's that they The neutrons in the chemical do the eczema, and it touches your skin and it burns, and then actually your skin is hot, not the fire. Go fuck yourself. You know what I'm talking about. Oh no. Actually, it is the lack of cold. It's not hot. It's the lack of cold. Okay, Native, thank you. But Monk, we have boner and baldness treatments, cancer, evil viruses. That can wait. You know, I make jokes on, well, thank you for that. And Gamer Vleen, thank you. They found flammable ice in Antarctica. I didn't say fire was the only thing that was hot. Or the only thing that would burn. Sir, thank you. Why are you, excuse me, why are you listening to a white man who stole his idea from a girl? Remember, these people are evil according to the left, right? Right? Science is good. Science is great, actually, when it's being properly applied. When it's actual fucking science and not, I don't know. And this, you know what? This leads me into something else. Sin, did you happen to catch CBS last week on 60 Minutes when they blamed Matt Gaetz? Is it Matt? I can't remember. Representative Gaetz, who was on with Tucker Carlson, for getting that, or maybe this was yesterday's 60 Minutes. They talked to that fired scientist who was testifying the other day, the one who sounds like he's on Prozac and Xanax all the time, and he doesn't know why anybody doesn't like him. I just wanted to smack him in the back of the fucking head. Like, speak, bitch. You can't possibly speak like that all the time. Nobody would put up with you ever. Your mother would have drowned you. But anyway, 60 Minutes is on this roll. Last week, they had a piece that was against the Trump administration on Corona. And this week, they had another one. And they were talking about how there's no possible way the Wuhan virus was made in a lab. And it's funny. It is funny that you have to listen to it as you should listen to all news. Because this isn't a piece where they're like, where they give any kind of concrete evidence. Like there's this one part they talk to this scientist who's like, no, look, this is not man-made. Say it's not man-made because of what we refer to as the backbone. See, if it was man-made, it wouldn't have that backbone in there. We would expect markers that don't have that backbone. And even if it made a new backbone, it's this. I'm pretty much quoting her at this point. It is such a dance around the fact that it still could have been human-made. I'm not saying it is, you guys. And saying it's human-made, I'm saying it's human-made, doesn't mean that it was made with malicious intent. That's part of this that gets lost in this. Most of the people who have suggested that this was a human-made virus, it's like, you're saying they wanted to kill everybody. No, what they're saying is this probably was an accident. This was probably an accident. Whether they were studying another kind of disease or whether or not they were looking for a specific cure for corona kind of viruses that hit humans. Most people are doing that saying, that this is probably man-made. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about it being accidentally made as science was trying to progress. And there was an interesting article. It was very funny, the timing on this. And I don't know if Paul Joseph Watson did this on purpose. I doubt it. But he released a thing on Twitter today, a story he had written over on his Summit News. Is that what his is called? Summit? I can't remember. But it links to a story from Austrian. Is it Austrians? Some researchers who are like, yeah, this was probably Austrian study finds sign of human intervention in coronavirus. This was published, just a little bit ago, just today. A scientific study in Austria has found that SARS-CoV-2, the coronavirus that led to a pandemic, was likely created in a lab, barring some, quote, remarkable coincidence that led to the virus naturally evolving to be optimized to attack human cells. And this is where YouTube's going, oh, no, we can't talk about it. Calm down, YouTube. Let me explain. I am not just taking Paul Joseph Watson's word for it. This is from Live Science. The WIV lab, along with researchers in the US and Switzerland, showed in 2015 the scary good capabilities of bat coronaviruses to thrive in human cells. in that paper, which was published in 2015 in the journal Natural Medicine, they described how they had created a chimeric SARS-like virus out of the surface spike protein of a coronavirus found in horseshoe bats called SHCO14 and the backbone of a SARS virus that could be grown in mice. The idea was to look at a potential coronavirus circulating in bat populations to infect humans. In a lab dish, the chimeric coronavirus could infect and replicate in primary human airway cells. The virus also was able to infect lungs in mice. The study was met with some pushback from researchers who considered the risk of that kind of research to outweigh the benefits. Simon Wayne Hobson, a virologist at the Pasteur Institute in Paris, was one of those scientists. Wayne Hobson emphasized the fact that this chimeric virus, quote, grows remarkably well, end quote, in human cells, adding that, quote, if the virus escaped, nobody could predict the trajectory. Any of that sound familiar? Any of that sound familiar? The Chinese were over there working on ways not to purposefully genetically engineer it. What they were doing is they were taking coronavirus and trying to get it through cell interactions from starting with bats, and they went into mice, and then from mice into human, if I remember the actual thing correctly. Because I did read the study, and it's linked there too. I should have thrown that link into here so you guys could find it all. Go follow Paul Joseph Watson for 10 minutes on Twitter. You'll find it. And then you can unfollow him. It's an interesting thing because this is exactly what some people think happened here. And maybe that's why some people happened here. Maybe they remember that. Maybe that has nothing to do with what's going on. I'm not spreading any fucking conspiracy theory here, YouTube. I'm pointing out that the mainstream media is only reporting what they want to report. This was in Natural Science. This wasn't some dude wrote it for his blog. Dragmates, thank you. I think a lot of people treat science like an unquestionable God. People need to learn what science really is, which is methodology. Yeah, that's fair. A lot of people do. I mean, science says that was the joke on South Park. Oh, my science. Remember? They actually treated science as a god. And there's a lot to love about science. I love science. Science lets us do things like make volcanoes in our house. Evolved Potato, the virus being man-made and accidentally released is given credence by China threatening most of the countries that want an investigation into its origin. And we all know China doesn't have the best safety record. Indeed. And I still, because there's people we mentioned, they map that genome really quick. And there's a lot of people, oh, well, that's normal. They had it mapped in like 30 seconds. Like, you got that genome map down to those folks in Aussie, like before the WHO even admitted it was a problem. Mentos and a bottle of Coke, best science ever. It's a lot of fun. We did that with the kids one time, a long time ago. It's amazing the kind of stuff that just gets ignored because, oh no, it's us versus them. This article, this is Paul Joseph Watson, so nobody's going to take him serious. But the article that he quotes there, that's from an actual scientific journal talking about this kind of research. And it wasn't something like purposeful manipulation. It like, how do I put this? Give me a second. Gamer Vleen, thank you. We make the fourth state of matter because science. Science is, we do everything because of science. We just don't necessarily know we do it because of science. There's a difference between, say, leaving something out to rot and purposefully destroying it. You know what I mean? You leave a car out in a field, and over a century, it'll just disintegrate most of the pieces of it and it's gone. There's a difference between doing that and destroying a car and, say, a compactor. Both ways you destroyed a car. You with me? That's what it is with this. They're not purposefully going in and changing the genetic makeup of this. It's not like, somebody go, okay, if we mix it with that, then we get this. What it is it's letting it evolve through jumping between different species until you get it to human cells, to where it hits human cells. And the reason this has come up is because they can't find a bat that this COVID actually exists in. They can't find that, which is weird because that's where it supposedly came from. Pandolin, is that how you say it? The little aardvark looking thing? That is one of the guesses that they think it might have come from. It's a little anteater piece of shit over there in China. And the reason they think it came from there, not because they found it in any of these aardvarks, but from the same kind of testing that led to the article that Paul was just talking about. Formerly said check. Oh, I'm sorry. All of these right-wing protesters setting fire to local businesses, turning over cars, looting. Sorry, my bad. I'm thinking of the progressive protesters. P.S. That dear girl is a power-drunk loon that's crazy and pitiful at the same time. Thank you for that donation. I'm so sorry I missed that. How the hell did I miss that? I apologize. Thank you so very much for the donation. I got all the ones around you, but missed yours. But yeah, so pangolin, thank you, pangolin. I knew I just saw the picture of it and I read the word once and like it's a penguin. What? A pangolin. The reason that they think it might have came from there is the same way that they think it might have been purposefully directed at humans. Again, not purposefully released against humans, but purposefully made against humans. And it comes from this, it's a computer modeling they do based on the known, this is getting into nerdy science. Basically, they have a computer model of your DNA and all that kind of stuff. And specifically the ACE2, the ACE2 of different animals. And the one that coronavirus matches up with best is humans and these pangolins. And they do know there were pangolins over there in these wet markets. But again, they can't find any. They can't find any with this virus. So there's still going to be speculation until they do. But it's funny. It's funny how every time these fuckers, they'll come up there and like, Donald Trump said this came from a lab in Wuhan, and he offered no scientific evidence. And they're like, so we asked this doctor, and she said it didn't happen. There we have our scientific evidence. Like, having a scientist say something that has no scientific backing doesn't make it scientific. You fucking dumbasses. What's with the Yoda voice? I don't know. It's the one I went with for them. It's just what happened. Oh, that brings me on. Let's get on to our main topic here because it all kind of relates. It all kind of relates. Not necessarily does, but kind of relates because this gets into the title of the stream today. Everything about this has been us versus them. I have to tear off a paper towel. Sorry, guys. I also need to mute for just a second because y'all don't want to hear what's about to happen. I need some music for when I need to do that. And there's not a co-host on. Monkey. This is a AP article from today. Me and We, Individual Rights, Common Good, and Coronavirus by Ted Anthony. I don't know who the hell Ted Anthony is. We the people, but individual rights. The common good, but don't tread on me. Form a more perfect union and promote the general welfare, but secure the blessing of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity. From the moment the American Republic was born, right up until today, this has been its hallmark. Me and we, different flavors of freedom that compete but overlap, living together but often at odds. You know, as I read this part, I'm like, you don't understand this, do you? You don't understand this at all. If you see a contradiction between we the people and individual rights, then you're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You just are. And We saw this on YouTube not long ago, you guys. We saw this back with Sargon with his, what was it, Liberalist Party? Is that what it was going to be? And it was, they were for individual freedoms and individual rights. And the Sweetie Squad, they're like, how can you be a group that's for individual rights? That's so stupid. You're a fucking moron, dude. I'm wondering if this guy's a Sweetie Squad member. The history. Oh, thank you, Lanny Stanfield. Releasing a highly contagious virus in your own country to attack your enemies is not an effective strategy. True. That's why I said that most people think that if this was man-made or man helped, we'll put it that way, that it was released accidentally. They could have been actually trying to do something good here. They could have been trying to, look for a way to beat coronaviruses. And in order to do so, you had to make one that was more easily picked up by humans. It's one of the reasons the other ones haven't hit us as hard as they thought they were going to, is because they don't live in humans as well as they did their host animals, which is not the case so far with COVID-19. So far with COVID-19, we have not found an animal that hosts this disease better than us, which is, oops. But anyway, so back to the story. The history of the United States and the colonies that formed has been a 413-year balancing act across an assortment of topics, priorities, passions, and ambitions. Now in the coronavirus era, that tug of war, is it about individuals or the communities to which they belong, is showing itself fresh in high-stake ways. On Friday, protesters massed at the foot of the Pennsylvania Capitol steps, most of them maskless, for the second time in a month to decry Governor Tom Wolf and demand he reopen the state faster. It's one of the many states where vocal minority has criticized virus-related shutdowns for trampling individual rights. Yes, and they're right. You can go all the way back to the beginning of our republic, and you will find that the idea of freedom isn't necessarily always the popular idea. The revolutionaries were not the popular choice. Most colonists were still okay with just hanging out with the Brits and paying more for tea. Several of them who weren't, they're like, fuck it, we're going to Canada. And they did. Others fought on the side of the Brits. The colonists had to win the war to be able to set the new rules. Vocal minorities like SJWs. SJWs, so you guys, they're a minority opinion. I don't think SJWs are the minority opinion everybody else thinks they are. I really don't. But what about Trump winning? He lost the popular vote. But that's just because of California. Yes, which is a state in the union. You can't discount them that way. Well, it's only the people in California. Yeah, there's a fuck ton of them. I get what you're saying, Dangerous. I do. But I think that SJW nonsense is a lot more prevalent than people want to give it credit for. A lot of people tried to downplay what it was. And I don't think you're doing it in the same way they do. A lot of people do. No, look, they're just silly. It doesn't mean anything. That's what is used. Because, oh, look, there's not that many of them. Actually, there are tons of them. They infect our government. And I do mean infect. They're in all kinds of powerful positions, including in teaching, which is where a lot of kids, I know too many kids go into high school or into college normal and come out fucking weird lefties. You will not convince me that college right now is not just a way to turn people into SJWs. Sinatra says, I literally refuse to believe Trump lost the popular vote. I don't have any problem with believing it. I don't. As polarized as things were, as unpopular as President Trump was, with the amount of negative press he got, I have no problem believing it. It's why the Electoral College is such a beautiful thing, my friend. You can't discount Cali, but the overpopulation of one state can't dismiss the rest of the states that make up about 90% of the nation. Well, that's a problem. You have to add it all together. And add it all together, Hillary Clinton won the election popularly. She's prom queen, y'all. It doesn't translate to a job. Those kind of opinions, they are popular out there. Look at what we've seen through COVID, man. He who is brave is free, read a sign carried by one Pennsylvania protester. Selfish and proud, said another, referring to the governor's statement that politicians advocating immediate reopening were selfish. My body, my choice, said a sign at a rally in Texas, co-opting an abortion rights slogan to oppose mandatory mask rules. You know, I can't believe my body, my choice has not been co-opted for so many other things. Prostitution, most notably, because why wouldn't that apply? The pandemic is presenting this classic individual liberty, common good equation, and the ethos of different parts of the country about this is very, very different, and it's pulling the country in all these directions, says Colin Woodward, author of American Character, A History of the Epic Struggle Between Individual Liberty and the Common Good. I'm going to stop reading there because we know what they're talking about at this point. What they're talking about is those of us who believe that you should be free to make your own bad decisions versus those out there who think government is there to tell you what's good for you and you better listen to what they basically your average homeowner versus the homeowners association. We know how your yard should look, damn it. You're going to affect my property value. People can come together for individual rights. It's not as fucking silly as you try to make it sound. Individual rights, we've talked so many times about this. You know what, guys? Freedom is scary. It is. Because you don't have mom and dad there telling you what to do and fixing your mistakes for you if you fuck up. It's on you. And you know what? There's a whole lot of pussies out there who don't want to have to make their own decisions. They don't trust themselves to make their own decisions. And they're probably right. But they don't trust themselves to make their own decisions. And not only do they not trust themselves to make decisions, they don't trust you to make decisions for yourself. They think Big Daddy government needs to come in. Bernie Sanders scared me. Seriously, guys. His candidacy and the fact that he wasn't just a complete joke the second round, that going into this election, it was just gaining steam. That momentum of his communist bullshit gaining steam. You can't have communism without a strictly authoritarian government. You can't. I know you guys think you can. I'm an anarcho-communist. No such thing, you fucking moron. Communism won't work without a heavy hand enforcing it. Heavy hand enforcing it. What might give the government a chance to take a heavier hand? What about forcing people? What if we tell people when they can and can't do business because there's an outbreak? I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but I'm glad he's in office right now. I really am. Because for all of the bullshit that they've told us, he's an authoritarian fascist piece of he has been incredibly unfascistic in this. Can you imagine? Can you imagine Hillary up there? Imagine Bernie. There's a lot of people who thought Bernie should have been the nominee because he would have beat Trump, you guys. No, he wouldn't have, but seriously. Imagine Bernie being president right now. What do you think would happen? Do you think it would take a moment, even a moment, for that fucking bastard to decide he gets to tell all businesses what to do? Yeah. It wasn't just young people supporting Bernie either. Many grown people wanted him in office. Yeah, nuts. We've always had the communists in the country since communism came around. One of them read a book and oh my God, this Karl Marx guy's smart. He's smart as hell. It would be so much better if the government controlled everything. I'm worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm worried. I'm worried what this country's going to look like in 50 years. Thankfully, it'll be near the end of my life and I won't have to fucking deal with it too long, but we have way too many people out there demanding that the government take care of us. The pandemic just makes it more stark. It brings it into starker contrast. Fucking teacher screaming to children that she hopes they die painfully because they're outside together. And that was rational to that woman. That was something that she needed to stop and do. Common sense white woman reform. You have a whole bunch of that. A whole bunch of people who think it's their job to tell other people how to live. How about this? You're a giant pussy. Go be a turtle. Go get in your shell and stay there until it's safe to come out. Go stay there until it's safe to come out. If you need to, every so often, poke your head out, eat some grass, and go back in. Let the let the higher species live their lives while you fucking turtle in place. Thank you, Ex-Bubba Hotep. Just to give you nightmares, imagine who Bernie would have put in the Supreme Court if he was elected in 2016. Yeah, no shit. And Okie Native, thank you. Don't worry, Monk. You'll be dead in 25 to 30-ish years tops. I appreciate you cheering my death, sir. I've tried to picture this. I've been playing a lot of Fallout 76, you guys, and Fallout 76 is on a divergent history. The history of the game and real life diverges somewhere in the early 50s. In the early 50s, real life goes this way and Fallout goes that way. And it's had me thinking, had me thinking about divergent paths. And what if Hillary won? What if Hillary won? This pandemic comes around and she has to decide what businesses to take control of. She has to decide whether or not we're going to give everybody free healthcare because this pandemic has come around and it's not fair to have some people be able to afford, being taken care of. Did you guys see Bernie Sanders when he was up there questioning Dr. Fauci and whatever you guys' names are? Can you guarantee that if a vaccine comes, it's going to be free to everybody? So this fucking moron said, he's a senator. This is a senator. Can you guarantee that you're going to give that away free? No, dickhead, because that would be your job to guarantee. See, you work in Congress where money for that kind of stuff would have to be appropriated, you silly fucking communist. Can you guarantee it? They're like, that we hope so, but we can't. You should guarantee it because people, they don't deserve to be sick. Wow, man. Wow. Do you guarantee all free stuff, Bernie? Oh, that's right. You want to. Imagine if the Democrats were in control. Imagine. This will scare the shit out of you. Imagine the Democrats win this election. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Monkey, what do you mean? What do you mean? The virus will be gone? No. You know what's expected to happen here in a few months? If this virus follows what most viruses do, it's going to die down here in the summer. We flattened the curve, which, by the way, there's no saying that social distancing did that. It's just as possible that that's just what happened. You hit a saturation point. But it's gonna dip a bit. And then the cold months are going to come and people start huddling together again and the virus is going to spread again. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. And you're going to see huge articles about it, especially if the election is about to come. And then Biden gets elected. And suddenly you have somebody in there who's willing to use the power of the presidency to reshape us, to grant national health care because it's necessary. Imagine the things that they're going to do, especially if Bernie or if Biden wins, chances are they'll take the Senate, and they already have the House. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? What divergent path will we be on then? When we know these sons of bitches are out there trying to, what do you think is going to happen to people who spread disinformation? Our Constitution has been violated in the name of the greater good repeatedly throughout history. And the problem is it's allowed to go on until the Supreme Court gets involved. It just happens. And then years later, we look back and go, wow, that was a horrible, horrible violation of the Constitution. We'll never let that happen again until next time. Imagine what these shitheads are going to do. We can't have you out in public with your gun. You're scaring people during a pandemic. It's amazing. It is amazing. Anyhow, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to get you to think. I'm scared. You don't have to be. You might look at it and go, oh, come on, Biden's not going to do any of this. All those people who are encouraging Trump to take more power and do more things, they're not going to tell Biden to do that when he's in charge. Sorry, I almost said that without laughing. He's not going to do that with Biden in charge. No, come on. They're suddenly going to come to their senses and realize that violating our rights is a bad thing. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Oh, man. Yeah, it's an interesting time. And the way that the press, I keep going back to the press. And you go, why do you always bash on the press? Because the press is where people get most of their ideas. They don't think about it beyond reading that headline and knowing which side they belong on. Look, Donald Trump did this. It said so in the news. Did you read the whole article? Well, no. I saw the headline and my friend retweeted it. Oh, so you're a fucking idiot is what you're saying. And you know what, guys? Fucking idiots get to vote too. Ex-Bobo says because the press is shit. That's part of it. It is, but the press being shit. Look, I don't rail on politicians as much as I do the press, because while the politicians are shit, it's the press who pushes the idea. That's where people get it from. They go to their favorite news site or they watch their favorite news program, and whatever's on that is what they believe. They believe Chuck Todd when he says that the attorney general did not cite any legal reason, or that he didn't think that he didn't cite that he thought history would look at this as a legal decision to drop the case against Flynn. He just said, ha ha, history's decided by the winners. Ha ha ha. It was so callous. He didn't even try to hide it, you guys. Do you think in the minute segment that Chuck Todd did to apologize for that, where they didn't replay it, where he just goes, yeah, the other day I did this. And if we had seen the whole clip, we would have said differently. How many of those people do you think were like, oh, I know what clip he's talking about. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah. How many people do you think missed the news that day? The news is the one that spreads this shit. I hate to be that guy. I hate to be out of the lamestream media, but it's them. They are our biggest problem right now. And not just right now, constantly throughout history, these lying shitbags who push their political opinions onto people through what is supposed to be a factual argument, a factual recounting of the events. And you know what? Sometimes they give a factual recounting. For instance, Donald Trump spread his hands out and looked up to the sun and claimed himself to be the chosen one. Factually true. Factually true. But is that what really happened? No. No, it's not. And we know this because we have video, you shitbags. But how many people, even with me talking like this, okay? If you brought somebody in here, look, you got to listen to Monkey. He's explaining this. They would just go, oh, he's obviously a right-winger. He's a right-wing Trump supporter. That's what he is. I get accused of that all the time. You are a right-wing Trump supporter. I'll cop to the right-wing thing. I defend Trump because Trump is constantly bashed in unfair ways. I've spoken ill of the president. They're like, no, you haven't. But I speak ill of the press, and Trump speaks ill of the press. So obviously we agree on everything. We're the same person. I can be dismissed the same as any other person who points out the bullshit the press pulls day in and day out because he has right-wing beliefs. He doesn't believe in abortion, you guys. Obviously, he hates the queers and the blackies and the Mexicans. He hates all those people because he's a right-winger. Yeah, please tell me why I should be ignored for pointing out your ideas are fucking retarded. That's nothing to do with that, but that's become the easiest escape route. It's right-wing. He said it was fake news. It is fake fucking news. To the point it has to be recanted all the time. Covington was followed by Jesse Smollett. These things were within a month of each other. The press got egg all over their face both times. And what happened to them? Nothing. Nobody was even fired over this shit. Oh my God. Oh, thank God. Jack's here to calm me down. Hi, Jack.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
Not bad. I got here in time to hear somebody say Mexicans. And I giggled. So it took me a second to log in.
I'm getting myself worked up here, man.
What's going on?
I'm just talking about how the press is treating like COVID stuff. There was a 60 Minutes. I can't remember if it was last week or this week. I think it was this week's. Where they ran a piece where they talked to doctors who said that there's no way this virus was man-made. Real quick, this Kyle, thank you. But they're morally correct, though, monkeys, so it doesn't matter if they do reprehensible things because they're fighting something far worse. That is an excellent point because that's what they believe. They believe in the greater good. And that this me versus we thing. Did you guys catch that greater good part that we talked about in there? I'm sorry I closed the article so I can't bring it up, but he specifically meant the greater good. The greater good of humanity is not the same as the greater good the way that the communists might use it. You can have a greater good. We're going to do things that are best for everybody, which to me is freedom. Just throwing that out there. To them, it's making you do things so that nobody else has to have to be inconvenienced in any possible way. But anyway, Jack, they brought this scientist up there to prove it. And she proved it by basically saying it.
Oh, well, so it's like climate change then. Just listen and believe.
And she does mention, she goes, it doesn't, the backbone doesn't seem to have been messed with. And if there was a new backbone, we haven't found anything like that. That doesn't mean it hasn't been manipulated by humans. And there's an article that came out that Paul Joseph Watson had tweeted out where they actually talk in 2015, Jack. China was doing exactly that with coronavirus. With I think it was the horseshoe bats that they talked about. Horseshoe bats, they were taking the coronavirus that they carried, and they were through an evolution process, not actually going in and manipulating it themselves, manipulating the DNA or anything, transferring it from animals and getting it into humans. It's something they did.
Yeah, that seems like a great idea.
Seems kind of familiar too, don't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that's the problem is there's no nuance to it when they say, no, this was not man-made. No, but it was tinkered with, and in my opinion, that's just as bad.
Well, here's the thing, Jack. And this is something I hadn't realized because we've been told. Do you realize the coronavirus that we have right now has not actually been found in an animal?
No, I did not know that.
Has not been found in an animal. Yeah. They found very close, but not this exact thing. which suggests that if it did come from bats, that it with where they think it is, that it probably jumped to something else before jumping to us. And the pangolin is the current most likely.
Oh, pangolins.
And you know what? They can't find it in them either.
That's a hate fact. Real quick, thank you, Evolved Potato, for the very generous donation. I got Corona paid today, so have some money. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, guys, I told you earlier, make sure you pay Jack because I can't. I did tell them that when you weren't here. They're like, where's Jack? I'm like, I don't pay him. You want him here, pay him, damn it.
Yeah, I woke up thinking like I had someplace to be.
Oh, there you go.
So here I am.
The audience reached out to you psychically. They're like, Monkey needs a rest.
Apparently, I heard what was it? I heard 1,000 souls cry out in the darkness.
Yes. Excuse me. And yes, Nuts is a sweetheart. I don't know why you're saying that, Merle, but she absolutely is. Nuts, thank you so much for dropping our links. And
absolutely,
she pointed out that it's Merle's birthday yesterday. And yes,
yeah. Well,
happy birthday to you.
you.
Happy birthday to
To
you.
you.
Happy birthday, dear Merle.
Merle.
Happy birthday
Happy birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy birthday, Merle. I hope you had a great one. I really do. And Gamer Bling, thank you. Everything is, quote, for the greater good. And that line might be why I'm 23% less valuable at a minimum in STEM jobs. Literally a joke at my work. Nice. Thank you for the donation. I was just getting a little worked up because I hate the press, Jack. I fucking hate them.
Well, it's because they're a bunch of disingenuous liars.
Yes.
And the handful of good ones are buried under that negative stigma. It's like watching corrupt cops do their thing. You know, you start associating every one of them like that.
Real quick, J-Kid, shut up. I know it's not a game stream, but tradition felt right there. He said, oh, for fuck's sake, I decided to drop in, and that's what I come into. You'll be fine. Grow a spine. It's not, I mean, how many times do we have to catch them lying, Jack? But the problem for me is not that they lie. It's that questioning them when they've been caught lying so much is the problem, and not them lying so much.
Yeah.
You called it fake news. It is fucking fake news.
Yeah, at best, it's half-truth news. Or heavily
and that is at its very best.
Yeah.
At its very best.
Let me grab a couple of Streamlabs here.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Big Pharma, for the donation. We've been tasked with finding a cure and vaccine for the mysterious novel virus, but you're more deserving. Thanks, Big Pharma. And this is Kyle. Thank you. I was going to give this to a homeless person, but you need it far more, and the homeless guy couldn't do a good enough cartwheel. True story. Homeless people are terrible at cartwheels, and they will get my dollar if they do a good one. But if they don't, fuck them. That's what you get for not trying. And if you tried harder in life, you probably won't be there. Thank you, X Bubba Hotep. Here is my scripted donation. Thank you.
Emerald says the internet was a downfall of mainstream media. It should have been. It should have been. It's not. It is the downfall of maybe television, cable, that kind of thing. But all of these news sources still exist, and the biggest problems are still the biggest providers of news. ABC, CBS, the alphabet networks, the cable news networks, the major newspapers, the Times and the Post. They're what is still consumed the most on the internet.
Yeah.
If you go to places like, I don't know if it's even still around, but like, is MSN or is MSN.com still around?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Go to Yahoo News, go to all of these places. Most of what they're doing is not writing their own story. They're linking to a story from one of the other major news sources.
Yeah, they just cut and paste articles or links.
Yeah. And so I get what you're saying, and I get why people say that, but it's kind of a, sorry, I don't mean to make the noise that I'm making here, guys. It's kind of, well, it's fake news. because these places are still just as powerful as they were. Now, they may have lost some viewership. They may have lost some, what is it? Subscriptions for print. But they're still the ones out there telling the stories that are being repeated.
Yeah, look at Washington Post. They're like the source for everything for CNN.
Yeah. According to the Washington Post, the New York Times released an article today. All of this stuff, that's what's said over and over on news stories. They're quoting the majors. And they were slow to adapt, Jack. I'm not going to deny that at all, but they've adapted. Their traditional model doesn't work anymore. Like the cable news is pretty much the actually being on cable, having the cable channel can be a drain on them. Right, CNN?
Yeah, shit.
But they're still around.
They've adapted pretty well and infiltrated into alternative media like YouTube.
Yes, they have. To the point where the Washington Post can come out and say something absolutely wrong on YouTube and not get in trouble for it. I can correct them at the time and actually get in trouble for it more than they will for telling the lie in the first place.
Yeah. Real quick, thank you, Okie Native, for the donation with no message. And thank you, John, for the donation. Here's the last of my food money. Enjoy. Thanks, John. That won't haunt me later.
Emerald says they paid off YouTube. They have an incestuous relationship with YouTube. It's weird, Jack, because they actually pay each other. And then with CNN getting actually their channel, and now they have ads on their channel, half of the money, 40% of the money from ads goes to YouTube and the other 60 to CNN. That's not suspicious at all for a group that basically bought their way onto a major platform. I feel like they shouldn't be allowed in the partnership program.
I agree, but that's never going to happen. They'll kick all of us small people out before they boot the big dying industries.
Sure, yeah, because we can't bring in the money they do.
Yeah.
I can't write YouTube a check for a couple $1 million. It'd be nice if they wrote me one. They're not gonna, but it'd be nice.
Yeah.
I'd give you some.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd cut you in.
Here's $5, Jack.
Right. I told you I'd give you some. Do a cartwheel, bitch. They tell a lie, no problem. You correct their lie, ban. Exactly. Look at what they've done with the WHO. Anything that goes against the WHO will be kicked off of YouTube. We're not going to put up with that shit. Excuse me. There's still stories from CNN talking about the WHO and what they said when they were wrong. Excuse me. I have questions.
Right? And they act like their lies never occurred.
Yeah. Didn't happen. It's been the same thing all along, Jack.
Yeah.
Wash your hands. Wear gloves. Wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Washing your hands means nothing. Do all these things. Do the hokey pokey. And the news repeats it all. And if you question the news, you're the bad guy, Jack. Even when they're wrong. Even when they're repeatedly fucking wrong. Do you remember they come out after Trump? Trump's downplayed the virus, and people put together not only clips of anchors doing it, but headlines that were all across the political or the media spectrum of them all saying the same thing. Them saying it, not quoting Trump, saying, "Oh, the flu is what you really need to worry about." All of this stuff, and they act like it never happened. And if you bring it up, they're like, "No, Donald Trump." Thank you, Dangerous Spaces. Criticizing the media. That's what I'm here for. Oh, believe me, I have plenty of criticism for them.
Yeah, they tell us not to wear masks, and they tell us we need to wear masks. They tell us, they have trot these professionals out saying every contradictory thing. The video's there, and they refuse to acknowledge that they even said it. Don't believe your lying eyes.
Yeah, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes, right?
Exactly. And thank you, Pig Collar, for the donation. Farm Simulator 19 is the devil, but it's so fun.
Baron Exile, thank you for that. Yeah, like this, guys. Hit the like button, hit the share if you're enjoying this. Remember, we're brought to you by you. So if you do enjoy this content, Susan, I'm talking to you right now. You know you do. I know. You know. Right now, I went into this voice, so she just got a boner. Her little clit got hard. Toss a donation at me or Jack. Thank you, John Migda, who says signing forms with a mouse is stupid. Yeah, but I do it. Do you use e-signature for anything?
Yeah, I've had to a couple times when filling out government documents and shit like that.
Seems like it'd be easy to fake, but yeah. I was apprehensive doing it. I've never been burned doing it that I know of, so.
Yeah, I'm sure I will at some point, but every now and then you got to do what you got to do. And oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, you first.
Farm Simulator 19, I got a buddy of mine that plays that, and that's all he plays all fucking day during the shutdown thing.
I bought a Farm Simulator. I didn't buy 19 because the newer ones are expensive. They had one of the older. I think I have 16. I got it for like $5 on a sale one time. That's a little too much work for me because you actually, you actually have to like drive the plow and plant the field. That's a little too real for me. I can understand why people like it, but not for me. Now the trucking simulators, those I'll do those all day long. That is like chasing the dragon on the Guitar Hero episode of South Park. You just sit there and find yourself drooling.
Why don't they have like a migrant worker simulator where not only do you work the fields, but you also occasionally get captured and deported by ICE, and you have to recross the border and like escape coyotes or something?
Right. Pink House is way more than just plowing now. Oh, it had more than that too. That was just an example. I don't want to have to get up in there and plow the whole field myself. I know. That's a little. I'm lazy, but if you question the press, you're the liar, even when they've been caught lying over and over. It's one of the reasons I really like our new press secretary.
Oh yeah, she's so fun.
I hope she's in that job for a long time, and I hope she keeps calling them out. And it's going to get to the point where the press is going to come after her really hard. And,
they're going to dig back into her background and find anything that they can rake over the coals.
Back in 6th grade, she wrote in her diary that she really liked Jimmy, and she didn't tell Jimmy, so she's a liar.
She's deceptive and manipulative. And that means she hates people of color.
Right?
Like, what gets me is that the press don't seem to understand how incredibly dangerous it is for the people to lose trust in them, because anything they say that's legitimate will be dismissed.
What happened to the big brunette that was what was her name? Huckabee Sanders, Sarah. She quit. She retired. She'd had enough of the press's shit. By the time she left that job, she looked like she'd been in that job a long time. She just looked old and worn out from it. Which, by the way, is how she went into it. But
well, it takes a toll on you, you know.
Yeah. And she was not as good at dealing with it. I'm curious to see how Kaylee does over the long term, because right now she's enjoying the shit out of it. You can see it in that little smile she gives. Oh my, it's such a good smile. Such a good smile. That go fuck yourself smile. Where Sarah, I mean, she'd get a little snippy with them and stuff, but she was trying to do it legitimately. And you have to have fun with it. You have to have fun with those lying bastards.
Yeah, it has to be somebody that enjoys an adversarial relationship.
We do have an end to the lockdown in a lot of places, or at least people not paying attention, not caring. There was a story yesterday about people going out. Jack, they went out in New York and they had drinks and they stood on the streets and drank.
Those fucking monsters.
And they weren't 6 feet apart all the time, and they didn't always wear masks.
What? End of the world.
I don't know if I'd talk to you about this, Jack. I mentioned it earlier, and I did bring it up on Lords of the Night the other night. I'm spreading this around because I think it's very interesting.
Spreading it like COVID.
Just like the COVID. Do you know where the idea for social distancing, stopping pandemics comes from? Did I tell you this?
Probably some plague doctor voodoo nonsense.
It came from a doctor. I forget what he's a doctor of, who came up with the idea in 2006. That's how long it's been around. When he saw his daughter's science experiment, his 14-year-old daughter gave him this idea. We could go with human evolution or a 14-year-old girl. And we chose a 14-year-old girl because that's who we are now, Jack. Let the children lead. And it's become the go-to. They act like this is how we've always dealt with it. They bring up 1918. Well, in 1918, they locked some stuff down. Some. They didn't lock down everything forever. Viruses come and they go, and we don't get rid of them by hiding from them. You know what? Effectively, what we have done with this lockdown is make this last longer.
Absolutely. This is how the Great Depression became a Great Depression. Look, you quarantine sick people and the people most at risk, the vulnerable, like the elderly and the people that are immunocompromised. Anybody that's incredibly susceptible to this sickness. I understand that. You don't quarantine healthy people and destroy your economy. At some point, life has to go on. This year has been effectively destroyed and wasted. We will spend the rest of this year trying to get back to work. And we're going to have so many people that are unemployed. It's going to devastate many, many lives, like probably a few million. And this is insane to say that you have to stay locked down. It's not feasible. It's not possible. And people won't listen to it. The more they spread this bullshit, the more people are just going to ignore it and go about their day to day. And that means there's going to be arrests. There's going to be violence because there are going to be people that are just frustrated and pissed off. It's a recipe for disaster, and they don't seem to either care or understand where normal people are coming from.
Over on the Streamlabs, thank you, RBA Dar, who says, I give you money because it is actually morning, and I feel it's important to reward good behavior. Thank you very much. Eagle says, my job of 18 years may have been flushed down the toilet because of this. Yeah. See, guys, remember, the idea of flattening the curve, it's not to stop the virus. It was never to stop the virus. It's to prolongate it so people get it slower, so that you don't have everybody sick at once, because everybody sick at once will overwhelm the hospital system. So instead, what you do is you prolong it, and like, oh my God, the virus isn't going away, because it wasn't supposed to. That was never the goal of this. The goal is literally to drag it out. And people are like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's say it does make sense. Let's say dragging it out makes sense. Okay, in that case, the only thing that makes sense is to only quarantine the sick people, because otherwise you have to stay locked down indefinitely.
Yeah, if they were just trying to give the medical field time to build resources, masks, gloves, etc., throw production in, they've had several months to do that now. Mm-hmm. We've known about this for months, since what, January?
Yeah.
So they've had plenty of time to get their shit together and get that done. At some point, it started as 2 weeks. Okay, you need a month, fine. 2 months, people will give you that to get production ramped up. After that, forget it. People stop listening. It starts to sound like bullshit. They move the goalpost, which makes it sound even more like bullshit, and they stop listening to the actual medical professionals who actually know what they're talking about, saying, you need to be cautious of this. Yeah, fuck you. You guys have been lying for months. Nothing's changed.
Yep.
We haven't seen the overwhelmed hospitals that were predicted. We haven't seen all these other things they kept hyping. And that's the problem with lying, is that, yes, some of these were predictions, but they made it sound like this was happening now. And that, like, the Samaritan's Purse field hospitals were going to get overrun with people, and there would be field hospitals all over the place. It hasn't happened. So either this isn't what they said, or we managed to flatten the curve so well that it's time to move on. And either way, people are going to take that perspective, and they're going to say, fuck you to the professionals and the overblown news media.
Yeah.
So at what point are you creating a worse problem or a new and different problem?
There's several things in chat I'd like to address, but they've gone by so fast. I do apologize. So I'm going to try to just do this in general. Yes, we have seen the field hospitals taken down. And Governor Cuomo, hey, could you keep a couple of those up? Like, why? You don't need them. But he wanted them there, just in case. You have do you remember the ventilators, Jack? What a big story that was.
Oh yeah.
We're running out of ventilators. People aren't getting the ventilators they want. We have so many ventilators right now. We're actually shipping them out overseas.
Yeah, we're shipping them to other countries like France and stuff.
New York's not getting the ones they want. And Trump's like, they have a warehouse full of them. They asked Cuomo, well, we have a stockpile. It's not a warehouse. It's a stockpile.
Yeah, they already had a stockpile, and Trump still gave them 4,000 ventilators. And that turned out to be way more than they needed. So they were full of shit. They wanted like 40,000 of them.
Yeah.
Now with the death rate as it is. Sorry.
And that's not to minimize the death. We're, 90,000, I think we finally passed. That's a lot of dead people. It really is.
And it'll be more in the fall. That's predictable. But you can't live your life in fear. You take your precautions and you move on. That's all you can do. You can't sit and be stagnant forever. That's called depression, and it's not okay.
No, if we would have gotten right back to it, because people asked us very early on when the shutdown started, can we come back from this? And at the time, yeah, absolutely. It'd be easy because the economy wasn't shut down for economic reasons. There wasn't a bank crash or something like that. The longer we stay out, the longer it's going to take to get back.
Yep.
Because there's nothing moving in the economy. Over on the Streamlabs, real quick, let me grab this, Jack. Thank you, Gamer Valine. Has no one else noticed the bad areas are in areas known for heavily polluted air? Your lungs work harder in those areas. By the way, send an article to your DMs you might have fun with. That one, I know Sanut and Satsu will. I'll take a look. I don't know if I'll get to it today because I'm rather worked up and we only have about half an hour left. But I will take a look, and thank you for the donation.
Over on the Streamlabs, thank you, RVADAR. Just making sure to also reward Jack because I really enjoy Jack in the Morning and his sidekick Monkey.
I agree. It's a good show.
Yeah, I like that one. Thanks.
As for it being in heavily polluted areas, these are also areas that are heavily populated. If you look at the maps, I mean, it's all the big cities. You had the outbreak in Seattle. You have the outbreak in Detroit, and a smaller one over here in the Grand Rapids area. You have New York City, New Jersey as a whole because it's a shithole, and it's major cities. You don't have it popping up like everywhere. You're not seeing a town of 2,000 people wiped out by this.
Yeah,
you're seeing 2,000 people die out of a city of 20 million.
Yeah, if you're talking like major cities, Japan is more concerned about this than we are because most of their people live in giant metroplexes, like Tokyo, which is spread out and it's huge. It is just a massive city. But over here, we really are just being hit in these locations. And a lot of the people that are dying are people in nursing homes because it's spreading like wildfire thanks to tards like Cuomo putting the sick people back in.
And you have to take the COVID patients in the nursing home. Why are the nursing homes so infected?
Yeah, and like, I don't understand.
Why can't we puzzle this one out, media?
Right?
No, fucking idiots.
They will look at the deaths of people that are valuable to society. The elderly are our historians. If you don't love old people from a distance, you're a monster. Up close, they kind of smell. But I don't understand why the media is using them as props to get Trump. I don't think that's going to work in the long term. People are too pissed off by all this.
Gamer Vleen says Phoenix not so much, and it's not exactly small with about 6 million people. It's still more spread out than New York City is. It's also warmer. That's something that's not getting a lot of play. If you notice where most of these deaths are, It's in the cold areas of the country. It's in the north.
Probably been festering for months.
Kevin, thank you. The overall death tolls are down in the past 3 years quarterly.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to death tolls, but that's good to hear. Boomers are dying off though, so it does that. And I'm not being mean there. I mean, we know they're coming to their lifespan. I wonder how much. I wonder if we're going to see a big ebb and flow with that.
I don't know.
Probably.
This will probably be around for a while, but it's really hitting people with autoimmune problems and lung problems. So I think it's going to be one of those lingering things that pops up more and more until they find like some good treatments for it.
Kimberly says, go ahead.
The fact that we already have like early warning things where we could detect it is really nice because that was pretty quick.
Kimberly said LA had it though. Yeah, LA also has an international airport that travels to China more than anybody in Phoenix does.
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to poo-poo what you're saying here, but there's a reason I wanted to point out that it's not just heavily polluted areas, and there's a reason for that, Jack. It's because there are people who are trying to convert to suggest, and I don't think Gamer of Lean is one of them, but they're suggesting that this is related to climate change and how we take care of the earth. I'm like, no, it's a virus. Even in a pristine earth, it would come along. You know what else it's hitting? Fat people. That has become one of the biggest warning factors, morbidity factors. It's old or huge. Those are the two things that are killing people. I mean, the virus is helping, Jack, but
it's working with the diabetes.
It is. It's yeah.
Do you think the mobility scooter companies are making ventilators now?
Oh, that would be cool. Just pop it right on the side.
Yeah, like it's got like a sidecar for your ventilator.
Yeah, they made those. I forget which company it was, but they made the beds with the ventilators right on. They could do that with just put it on a mobility scooter. And a Darth Vader mask to go with it.
Yes.
So you can feel cool.
But it's you can choose colors, so it's Cool Ranch or nacho cheese. It's not people that are just a little overweight. It's usually morbidly obese people.
Yes.
Because like when you say fat people get a specific image in their head. It's not always the Walmart shopper heffalump that it is. You know,
no.
It's more often than not with people over a 35 BMI that need to lose like 100 pounds. You know, it's the Chubbalicious crowd, not your regular like I got a beer gut people.
Yeah.
That's as descriptive as I could get.
No, that's a good thing to point out because I'm fat. I'm overweight, but my weight doesn't put me in the scary class of this.
Yeah.
If I gain maybe 50 pounds, it would put me there. I still need to lose about 50, but yeah, morbidly obese, guys. It's not a good place to be right now. And if you're a fat old person, you just might as well, put a ventilator in right now and get ready for it.
Yeah.
No, not climate change. Pollution in those green cities is helping the virus become more potent in what would otherwise be healthy people. Gamer, I wasn't suggesting you were saying climate change, but I've seen a whole lot of this climate change popping up and environmental. Not the way you're talking about, but like the environment's bad and it's causing everybody to get sick. No, the virus is causing everybody to get sick. Nobody was sick like this until this came around, and those places haven't changed. But yeah, that's why we have to be more environmentally friendly, Jack, so that bats don't apparently give pangolins a disease that passes to us that can't be proven that's how it was given.
Yeah, well.
But remember, it wasn't man-made, guys. We know it because we said so.
Yeah, because we said so, and everything we've said has been 100% spot on. Whatever.
How about just admit you don't know?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with saying this is what we know now. We clearly don't know everything, so we're just wait. We're going to look into this further and see what we can come up with.
Because here are the facts, and you can check me on this, guys. Look it up. These are the facts. We don't know what animal gave this to us. We have no idea. We have some thoughts, but we do not have proof of any of it.
Oh, I have some thoughts, and they involve Hello! I hope you like the new virus we gave you.
Sinatra says, thank you. Monk is about 259 years old and scared. I ain't scared of shit, man. I smoke, and apparently that's okay for you. Pincalo, thank you. 260 pounds, but I can still see my D and run a mile. You still might need to be careful, my friend. And Sinatra says, test. Yeah, I see you. Did you want to come on? I don't know. If you said something other than your donation, I didn't see it, but here are the facts. We don't know what animal it came from. We do know that the first cases came from the Wuhan area over there in the province. I forget, what is it? Fuck, it doesn't matter. But it came from over there. And we do know that there's a testing lab where they were working on coronaviruses. What is it? 3 miles from the wet market where they're trying to say it came from?
Super close.
That's what we know. Those are the facts. We don't know anything other than that. We have guesses, but that's it. This couldn't have been man-made. It doesn't have the backbone, and it has a backbone, but we don't know. That's all you had to say, lady. We don't know. You can sit there. Your guess that this actually happened in the wild is as valid as Trump guessing it came from that lab. We don't have proof in either scenario. And you know what? One of you is going to be right. Either it came from the wild or it came from that lab. But right now, we don't know. Yeah. I am still highly suspicious of how quickly the genome was mapped. I'm sorry.
Right? I think I said that early on too, was that it's very weird that they had that genome mapped when they gave it to Australia a week after the big outbreak. I was really, really weirded out by that. That's just doesn't happen.
I remember when we talked about it. When we first talked that up, like, wait, what? And there were people in chat. No, it could be that fast. You know what? Maybe it could be. However, that specific lab having that fucking genome that fucking fast, it was a little bit
yeah, a little bit of a head scratcher. Over on the Streamlabs, thank you, RV8R. Jack, as a boomer, I still believe I would survive, as I'm in pretty good shape. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Even if you're in the danger zone age group, if you're in good shape, then you have a much, much better chance.
And see, we have people telling us again right now, we're wrong. They can map it really fast. I'm not saying they can't map it fast. I'm saying that lab, having mapped it that fast, is still fucking curious to me. Even as fast as they can do it these days.
Yeah, I just found it very suspicious that they would have that on hand.
Yeah.
And they didn't mention like, oh, hey, we've been working on this night and day for 20. No, they're just like, here you go. Even the Australian officials seem to find that pretty curious. So
yeah. It had a backbone. It would be woman made. No, women are the only ones that have backbones anymore, except for us here on the show. Guys, if you like the show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe to all of Jack's channels. They're down below. Jack sells books, you guys. Buy books. I sell stuff, and there's a page. Look at all the links down below. Click them all and do the things that are there, because that's an awesome thing to do. How was that for a show? Very, very vague.
Nebulous but intriguing. Because I mean, if you want merch, we have merch available. Monkey and I both have monthly Patreons, and we have Teespring stores. So if you want a shirt, be sure and check those out.
Thank you, Gamer Valine. But Jack, will you read that one? Because I can't do the accent.
Awfully suspicious.
Thank you for the donation. Yeah, I was trying to do it yesterday, and I cannot do stereotypical Asian accent.
You're surprised I speak your language.
I guess I need to date more Asians.
Yeah, you got to take Elmer Fudd and mix him with Edward G. Robinson.
Oh,
and you have like the Charlie Chan voice from the 40s.
Oh man, I need to listen to some of it to get it down. I can't do Bill Clinton anymore. It really bothers me. I used to do an excellent Bill Clinton.
Yeah, when did you lose that?
I don't know. Every time I try to do it, I can't anymore, and I just got to go back and listen to him because he's not that hard to get down. Obama was the hard one to do, and I can't do Trump at all. I wish I could, but I actually came up with a sequence alignment function that would make it roughly 100 times faster than what we have now. It's in my old PC. Cool. I'm just saying, this coming from that lab that quickly is suspicious to me. I'm just throwing that out there. Oh, it's almost like they knew what to look for, Jack.
Yeah. Or they had it on hand.
Yeah, one of the two. And there's, again, this is part of the problem, people poo-pooing the idea that it came from that lab. There's nothing wrong with it having come from that lab other than whatever safety measure failed that let it escape. They do research on coronavirus there, so that a lot of it is used to try to fight coronaviruses. It's good work that they're doing there. And if they were trying to, as that one article suggested, if they were trying to mutate this in so that it specifically went after humans, and they were trying to use that to find a cure for coronavirus diseases in humans, that is good work. There was a failure of safety somewhere.
Yeah, so this is a case where the cover-up might be worse than the crime. Like, if there was a screw-up, it's easier to say, hey, we screwed up and accept responsibility for it, and then everybody's on the same page working together. Yes. Instead, now you have no trust in these people because you can't afford to trust them because they may have unleashed it on purpose or accidentally, and they're taking zero responsibility, so that means helping you is a joke. They're going to burn every piece of paper and say, don't know what you're talking about, and all that valuable research that could be used to fight this is now gone.
Well, Jack, the article we read earlier, they do this computer modeling. And you guys know how I feel about computer modeling. That doesn't change here. Computer model is only as good as the stuff you put into it, the program of the model, you know?
Yeah.
But what they found in this is that no species that we have on record, that they have on record there, is more compatible with this than we are. RVA Dar, thank you. China, why do they keep sending us all the viruses? SARS, et al. Well, MERS wasn't from them. Ebola was. They keep sending us coronaviruses because they're popular over there with all the damn bats they have.
And the bubonic plague, don't forget that.
Oh yeah, bubonic plague. You know, we got to give them one.
It's probably just the way the region is because they're in kind of that golden zone for disease. Like, you see a lot of like malaria type diseases coming out of like Thailand and Vietnam and stuff like that. So it's not surprising they would have diseases, and with their population so big, it's going to spread very quickly.
Well, and you also have to understand, if I went to rural America. Rural America is nothing like going to, say, rural China. And so you have these really, I don't even think poor is a strong enough word. These destitute places that are shitholes, absolute shitholes. And people travel back and forth from that place with no sanitation, no medicine, nothing. And they go into the big city. And I mean, it's easy to spread that stuff in a huge city. It just takes one, the wrong cough, you know. And there's a billion people, like Jack said. Where was I though? Going back to this article, Jack. So with what they know, no animal out there is as capable of carrying this as we are. You take SARS, the bat that had that, whichever one it was, I forget which one it was. It could transfer it to humans through cats, but the host animal carried the virus and it stuck with them more than it would us, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
it was a mutation that got to us, and so it wasn't as deadly, and even as deadly as SARS was. It because humans, we aren't as susceptible to it as the bat was. We can't find an animal that's more susceptible to it than us. The closest is the pangolin, which is just is slightly as strong a carrier. But that same article goes on to talk about an experiment that the Chinese were doing back in 2015, Jack, which explains exactly what we've been explaining here that could have happened. They were doing experiments to try to purposefully infect human cells with coronaviruses. And at the time, they're like, the risk is not worth the reward on this one, guys. It's too dangerous. But if you want to say that might have happened, you're a conspiracy theorist. They were literally doing this.
Yeah, see, that's why it sounds like they're kowtowing to Chinese investors when they say that shit. You should try and find out the exact cause of it and see what's going on. If it was an accident, it was an accident. You don't cover that shit up when it's that important.
Yeah. M says, pangolin. Look, I'm going to keep saying it how I say it because I don't care about those little aardvark fucks. It should be called aardvarks. I can say that. Penguin motherfuckers. Anyway, I appreciate you trying to correct me. I think he was making fun of the way I was saying it more than trying to correct me there.
And he spelled it wrong. It's penguin.
Penguin.
Oh, I see you have a penguin. No, I don't have a penguin. A penguin. Yeah, I don't have a penguin.
Oh, God.
Oh, wise guy, eh?
Wouldn't it be great if the Batman character was actually the pangolin thing instead of penguin? He just couldn't say it right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyhow. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them trying to cure disease, man. We need scientific research. We need really, really strict controls on that shit. Which, I mean, if it got out that way, if YouTube, if that's what happened, then, I mean, it's an accident. Yeah. Shit happens sometimes. And my worry here, Jack, is the long term, actually, because, again, coronavirus has hit humans hard, very hard. And we should be looking for a cure. And maybe that is the secret to figuring it out, is to figure out how it mutates and gets into humans and then curing that. But, oh, wait, it got out and how about we just make it safer and do the research still?
Yeah. Two good points in chat. Low Res Boy said there's too many loose ends. We need to consider every possibility. Absolutely. And Purple Pill perspective, the more China acts indignant, the more I believe this is a quote accident. Yeah, it makes you look guilty by covering shit up. And if they destroyed their notes on it, that sets us back. All they had to do was give us all the information they had at the time on this thing. The genome was a good start, but release everything and be like, look, this escaped somehow. Keep it on the down low. Here's all our research.
Yeah.
And let's see what we can do as a globe, because then you have a lot more big brain people working on this. Instead, they decided to burn everything to the ground. People disappeared, mysteriously died, all that shit. And now we're behind the eight ball. You know, a lot of people have died because of China's cover up.
Yep.
So if it had been an accident, this could have been easily remedied by saying it got out of control. We're trying to control it. Here's what we've got. And they didn't do that. So fuck them. A lot of these deaths are on them. I would say all of them, but that's just me.
I wanted to, where's that one point at? There it is. Baron Exile says, if each and every person is ruled over for his own good, then who is doing the ruling? Curious, huh? This is why I said I'm getting nervous about this election. I really am. I do not want to see a Democrat in control when the second wave of this comes by. Because all of the people who have been demanding that Trump should have done more, that Trump should take these powers, that Trump should be the one locking everybody down, a power he does not have. They're going to have their own guy in power if Biden wins. Not only that, they will likely take the Senate, and they already have the House. They're not going to lose the House if Biden wins. They just pick up seat. They tend to pick up seats, whoever wins that election. And that makes the whole government Democrat. And then you have a whole group of people as the second wave comes around who desperately want to control our lives.
Yeah.
For our good.
That's going to be a terrifying scenario if that happens, which, oh my God, I hope not. But yeah, I mean, living in Ohio, we've had way less restrictions, a lot more freedom to come and go, and it's been pretty solid. My life has barely changed because I don't like going outside to begin with. But my major problem was the comic shop was closed down.
Mm-hmm.
So that pissed me off. But I couldn't even imagine living in Michigan for this.
Oh.
I don't know how you guys are doing it. I would have gone fucking nuts.
Well, for me, I don't go out anyway. I've seen it on my wife and son. Their weekly shopping trip is like they get excited for it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's like going into town in the old days, riding the wagon, hitching up the horses.
Purple Pill Perspective says, will Monk vote Trump? I know it used to hinge on Bernie, but will he vote to avoid permanent lockdown state? I would not vote to avoid a permanent lockdown state. What bothers me with that is not the permanent lockdown state. What bothers me about that is the power that it conveys to the federal government and what they do with it from there.
Yeah.
So I get what you're asking. For me, it's going to hinge on a couple of things. One, if Biden picks, say, somebody like Warren. If he picks Warren as VP, I'm voting for Trump because he ain't going to last in office, guys. He's not.
No.
So it'll depend strongly on the VP. And also, as we get closer to November, seeing how, because we should see the spike in this come back sometime around September. Because if this follows normal viruses, guys, it's going to be dying down here for the next couple of months. Summertime, you'll see a big push down in it. Especially, you know what's going to be interesting, Jack? Because we're hit really strong along the East Coast right now.
Yeah.
The East Coast has horrible humidity. And you get a night, some sunny days in a row, get a couple of weeks of 80, 90 degree temperature with that high humidity, you'll see the cases just bottom out until it comes back, until it starts to cool down again. And then the virus is like, oh, thank God I can breathe.
Yeah.
And then I think you'll see a spike. And depending on how big that spike is and the kind of rhetoric we're seeing at the time, I might vote for Trump this time, guys. And I'm not voting for Trump because I like Trump. I am impressed with how he's handled this virus. And I know there's going to be, what? He's fucked it up. You know what? Hindsight. I'll give you that. There's things that could have been done better. Absolutely. You know what he hasn't done yet? Turned into the fucking dictator they want him to be right now, that they've always told us he would be if he had the chance to take the power. He's had that chance. He's had their backing for that. And he's like, I'm not going to do that. That takes some control that I don't think any fucking Democrat has right now.
No. And what worries me is that it's not necessarily the feds doing this shit. It's the local and state officials. That's where the real danger is happening. I mean, look how close Michigan is coming to open unrest. Did you see that cop's Instagram video?
Which
where
one?
He was there was this cop. He just got let go or put on administrative leave because he was saying that a lot of officers are following unconstitutional guidelines, and he's real worried about why they're so willing to go along with it. And he's worried that it's going to get messy and bloody. I'll see if I can find it. I don't remember his name.
I think that you might see some unrest in, downstate, down near the Detroit area, the Tri-County area. Maybe the Flint. Maybe Flint is just a dump anyway. Yeah. Nobody wants to go outside there. They're inside. Like, oh, thank God, free fresh air. I don't know. I don't know if the state is going to get that bad. I mean, I'm still waiting. I don't think we've heard the case yet against the governor that was brought by the state assembly because she's gone over her powers. And if this gets to the Michigan Supreme Court, it should rule the same way the Wisconsin court did. The Wisconsin court ruled that the governor did not have the power to extend the stay-at-home orders because the governor didn't. And they're like, you just want to spread COVID. Like, no, they're following the fucking law, you douche nugget. It's literally all it was following the fucking law. And hopefully that happens here. The one case that we saw in Michigan that I know about, Whitmer won, which was fucking stupid. But this one is coming from the legislature, and this is specifically regarding her extended stay at home. So we'll see what happens. Impeach the Michigan governor. Oh, the problem is she's still loved in Detroit. They love this crazy bitch. Look how cute she is. All right, put her in porn. Don't put her in my government. Fuck. Oh my God. Jack. This show is cathartic for me. Because otherwise, all these thoughts are just stuck in my head. Obama's judge supported governor in Michigan. Yeah. Well, did you guys see that? We read the story on Lords of the Night the other night, Jack. That the Wisconsin case was a harbinger of what you can expect from Trump judges. By the way, this is the Wisconsin Supreme Court that decided this. Donald Trump had dick to do with them getting into office.
Yeah.
Not a fucking thing. But their argument, honest to God, Jack, was that right-wing judges might follow the law.
Oh my God, those monsters.
Now, they didn't phrase it that way because for obvious reasons, but that's the argument, because that's what they did. They followed the fucking law. It is very specific, but there's no wiggle room in the law. It's like you have this authority, and past that place, you have to get more authority. You did not have that authority. Therefore, what you're doing is unconstitutional.
Yep.
It was a cut and dry case. This is a harbinger of the right-wing extremism you can expect. You mean the rule of fucking law?
What?
Bring it.
No, we don't need consistency in rules.
Fucking bring me that. I've been begging for that shit.
Right? Thank you, Chicago Mike on the Streamlabs. I'm enjoying the show with coffee, which is better than Diet Pepsi. True story.
Excuse me. Well, I just need a half a second, Jack.
No worries. Yeah, I think it's weird when our leadership says that the judges have no sense of what they're doing. That's worrisome. That's one branch talking shit about the other branch. Dangerous.
Real quick, Zombie asks, I have your story pulled up. We'll talk about it here in a second, Jack. Zombie Teddy says, did the second stimulus pass or really pass? Yes, but it only passed the House. It's not going into the Senate. Senate's just like, don't even send us that shit. We're not even voting on that. Fuck you. What is it? A $3 trillion stimulus that Pelosi put together with a whole bunch of nonsense in it. And yeah, it's not going to go through the Senate. So
I hope not. That is such. I read some of that thing. I was reading about some of the bullet points and stuff they wanted. Oh my God, it's just the Green New Deal wet dream.
Yeah, McConnell already said we're not doing this right now. No. So yes, it did actually get passed, but it only passed in the House, and that's meaningless. Only passing in one chamber is fucking meaningless. Over on the Streamlabs, real quick, thank you, Gamer Valine, who says, want to play Fallout in a bit, Monk? My neck is acting up, and I can't lay down anymore. The rest of my spine said it's been 18 hours. Get up. Yes, get up, woman. But yeah, I'll be over there. I'll be playing probably after this. I need to find something to play on my games channel. I really do, but I can't. I tried just playing Fallout, and I can't because it's an online game.
Oh yeah, and
if my internet connection is not strong enough to play an online game and stream it. Thank you, Chicago Mike, who says just joined TME. Just joined TME Ranting Monkey Mug Club and bought a $14.99 mug. AOC is cute, minus the donkey teeth, but a moron, and will not vote for her ever. One, thank you for joining the Ranting Monkey Mug Club. Guys, don't forget, there is mugs over there. There is mugs. There is a mug, I think, is what. fuck? But yeah, thank you for the support, both in the mug and the donation. That's very, very kind. Okay, Seattle cops suspended after telling officers not to enforce coronavirus stay-at-home order. Seattle police officer refused to enforce Washington Governor Jay Inslee. Is it Inslee or Ainsley? It's Inslee, right?
I think it's Inslee.
Inslee's stay-at-home order and went viral for encouraging his colleagues to do the same. Has been put on paid administrative leave. They quarantined him.
Oh, jeez.
Officer Greg Anderson has been suspended pending an investigation after his May 7th Instagram video in which he spoke out against tyrannical orders against the people. Every time I turn on, this is a quote, every time I turn on the television, every time I look to the internet, I'm seeing people arrested or cited going to church, for traveling on the roadways, for going surfing, opening their businesses, going to the park with their families, or doing nails out of their own home, using their own home as a place of business. I don't know what crime people are committed by doing nails in their house, but we're seeing this more and more and more, and we need to start looking at ourselves as officers and thinking, is what I'm doing right? Oh, damn. You can't say that, homie.
That's why he's in trouble.
You're supposed to be the SS, man. You just go out there and do what you're told. Isn't that the excuse? We were just doing what we were told.
We were just following orders.
Just following them orders. Guys, I'm not going to play the video because it's from that page. I don't know. My internet, you know, Jack.
Oh, yeah.
So you can watch it yourself if you want to. But yeah, good for him. And
yeah, it took a lot of balls to do that. And he put his entire career on the line because he's suspended right now.
Yeah. I think there's going to be, if he wants to, police agencies around the country that'd probably hire him.
I hope so, but nobody likes a dissenter these days. So
look, we have sheriffs here in Michigan who flat out, we're not enforcing that. No.
And that's what we need to focus on, is that there are some good cops out there trying to do the right thing. And the jackbooted tactics aren't all of them. So this guy's got a GoFundMe, and it's raised a bunch of money because he did effectively lose his career. And he's got 3 kids. So
good for him, and good for the people supporting him.
Yeah, because this really took a lot of guts to stand up and say, I don't like this. We shouldn't be doing this. And that's hard to do when it's an unpopular opinion in a time when the jackboots are coming out on everybody. He probably got blacklisted from his entire department.
Oh, probably. Well, it's going to depend. There may be, he's in Seattle, so I don't know. I was going to say, maybe there's people in his department who agree with him, but again, Seattle, so.
Yeah.
That Pacific Northwest, man.
I know.
The West Coast is a shitbag.
You know who I blame for that? Bigfoot. Because that's his stomping ground. That motherfucker is sowing dissent, and he's probably a commie living communally with a bunch of other Bigfoots out in some hippie compound in the Pacific Northwest there, and he's spreading that nonsense all around. Bigfoot propaganda.
Jack, told you earlier, we can't find an animal that coronavirus is better suited for than us. Maybe that commie motherfucker Bigfoot did all this to us.
That's right. His Asian counterparts, the wild man and the Yeti, they started this shit. They were spreading it, so they're like, hey, we don't want this. You guys have it. Ha ha, suck it, humans. Missing link, huh? Fuck you. Yeah, fuck you, hippie. That's why his hair's so long. He needs a haircut, shaggy bastard.
Gamer Valine, thank you. Me and Blunty Blondie. I don't know why that's hard for me to say. Blunty Blondie. I just call her Blondie. Me and Blondie were both able to get our nails done. You guys can come out here. We will accept you. And in 10 years, Monk can join the other old cripples in Sun Lake or Sun City. Thank you. Is that the start of the fun to move Monkey to Arizona? I would love to go to Arizona. I back in the day, Jack, I almost had Lady Monkey ready to move to Arizona. And she saw a fucking Discovery Channel thing about the deadly snakes out there.
Ah, damn it.
Like, we'll get a lion. It'll be fine.
Gulf City said, Seattle lets Antifa run wild, but the hell with you if we want a haircut. Yeah, the whole Pacific Northwest is like that. Portland, Seattle, San Francisco. It's all a big shithole as far as I'm concerned. Beautiful land full of dumb people.
Speaking of Antifa and those weird lefties, they don't bathe. They don't take care of themselves. They're nasty and they stink. They're going to start a virus.
Yeah.
Why isn't anybody out there going, hey, you dirty fucking Antifa bitches, clean, wash yourselves?
You remember before all this started, they were finding leprosy and bubonic plague among the homeless population in California.
Yeah.
Those are medieval diseases that we actually have treatments for. What the fuck are they making comebacks for?
Sir Wolfgang, thank you. Just remember, China lied. People died. That's true. Whether you think it came from that lab or not, there is no denying China lied in this. So did the WHO, Susan. Susan, sweetie, listen to me, baby. I ain't lied to you yet. And I got a nice penis. My dick is cute. You should come see it. A little bit of money is all it takes, baby. Anyhow.
Real quick. Thank you, Cryptic. I did a drive-by snatching of a homeless person's money bag. The cripple didn't have a chance in his wheelchair. Here you go, man. Thanks, Cryptic. I'm glad you got away.
At least he didn't steal a blind man's cup.
I think he did that last week.
And several people are pointing out, we know where those diseases came from. We know. We've talked about it at length we were talking about the dangers of the open border and the fact that people aren't getting checked coming in, and that this has a chance for horrible viruses to come back.
Yeah, that's how we got the Zika virus, was people sneaking up over the border. And that weird polio-like one that's been going around, that came from the southern border. We don't talk about that shit.
Emerald says, cute peen, is that my dick is pretty. It's nice and straight. It's only got a slight upward curve. I mean, just very slight, to make it look right, because you don't want to look like you actually have a dildo on. RVA Dar, thank you. The media and the jackbooted governors have people so scared that they fail to see any logic, and it will be a long time before people have any trust in one another or their local government, and that is so sad. I'm afraid it will get way worse.
Oh, yeah. It will. The snitching hotlines is a good sign of that.
Oh, God, that is so creepy.
Yeah. I thought it was funny when the one got leaked.
Yes.
And all the people that tattled were like, oh, I'm afraid for my job. Yeah, fuck you, you narc.
Well, it didn't even get leaked because that was the one that Matt Christensen did a video on.
Yeah, it was all freedom of information stuff, but
you don't even need that. It's just public domain at that point. When you sign on it, you sign that this information can become public because they have to give it to you. You don't have to go through the whole FOI thing. You just have to go request it. Hey, I need to see the reports on this, and they have to give them to you. It's so beautiful. And these people willingly signed it. That one bitch crying. What about me? There's people who don't like me because of this. Because you're a snitch, bitch.
Yeah. Nobody wants you narking on petty dumb shit that isn't life-threatening. Nobody got shot. There's a couple people out there holding hands or something, and you're narking them out. You're narking out your neighbor for having a barbecue. That's Stasi shit. Fuck you, you traitor. How un-American is that crap? Mind your own business and keep your mind to yourself unless somebody's doing something seriously dangerous. And fuck you stupid narcs.
Plus, she's proof that Karen doesn't have a skin color. Because that absolutely. She was Karen as fuck.
Oh, yeah. Karen is a state of mind.
It really is. Look, if your neighbor is doing something dangerous, killing somebody in the basement next door, call the police. Fine. Your neighbor's having a barbecue? Go fuck yourself. Jack, do you remember how pissed off everybody got because that chick called the cops on the people who were having a barbecue in the park?
Yeah. Yeah.
They got mad as fuck at her.
Yeah. And they have every right to be mad. It's fucking dumb. It's pointless. Case, it's not hurting anyone. It's stupid. Grow the fuck up and mind your own business.
Here's the thing, though, Jack. In that case, she was legally right. They were barbecuing in a part of the park that they weren't supposed to be barbecuing in. Now, I'm with you. Mind your own business, bitch. Who even know? Who fucking wait, you can't barbecue here. The sign says over there. Go fuck yourself. I'm with you on that. But she was right. And everybody lost their shit on her because she tattled. Now, you have a whole bunch of people like, what's that? What's the tattle hotline? Let me dial that. My neighbor has his kid's birthday party. Or that one we saw, excuse me, you're letting your daughter go to people's houses. Actually brought the fucking police to this lady's house.
Yeah, and you know what? They'll probably open a child protective services case on that chick. because they're going to consider that a dangerous risk. And that's fucking bullshit. And the neighbors that narked on her all deserve to be shamed because they're assholes. It's none of their business what her daughter does. Because you know why? Because kids don't get this very often. It's incredibly rare.
P-Dog says, oh shit, gotta run. See some of you very soon. Yeah, guys, don't forget, over on P-Dog's channel, the Morning Night Live starts here in about 3 minutes. He goes live at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, Native, thank you. Jack really calmed this stream down. Yeah, you might be helping fuel the fire, Okie. Thank you for the donate. But look, there's reasons to be mad about this shit.
Yeah, it's because everybody's a bunch of hypocrites and douchebags. We've trained people into thinking that the government is the solution to all of your woes. Yes. And it's not the case. If you do that, you're going to live a very miserable, boring life. And it's going to be full of suffering because the government is not good at most things.
No. They're really not. They can spend money like a motherfucker, Jack.
Yeah. But that doesn't fix problems. You're just throwing money at it. You can stand there and throw $1 bills at a flat tire. It doesn't change the fucking tire. You just have a stack of money in front of a broken tire.
We have raised several generations now to think government is the answer to your problems. They're your mommy and daddy.
Yeah. And there are people that are completely dependent on the government, which is insanely dangerous.
There's people who want to be more dependent on the government.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the more you get from them, the more entrenched you are in their business, and they could tell you what to do. Oh, we'll deny your medication for your mom if you don't do this. Yep. We'll deny you next month's food stamps if you don't do this. If you don't keep an eye out, we need at least 2 reports every month on your neighbors, or you get nothing. That sort of shit can happen and has happened in other countries.
I saw another article, it was either yesterday or the day before, where somebody was suggesting that we shouldn't be mad at these people who are calling. We shouldn't. Actually, what we should be doing is a social credit score, Jack.
Oh, no.
Social credit score on those people who are having picnics.
No, that's fucking bullshit. That is straight up communism control. Because that's China's bullshit. If they do that shit here, we're going to have real fucking problems. That's how black markets get started, by the way.
Chicago Mike, thank you. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. That's a scary sentence, right? There's things the government can do. They're not good at much of it at all because it's bureaucracy. And I don't know if it's technically by definition, but definitely by design, it fucks everything up.
Yeah, the more middlemen you have, the less things can move quickly. The government doesn't turn fast because of that. They can't adjust, and relying on them is incredibly dangerous. They get very one-track minded. They have a set system, and that's all they know how to work within. And there's tons of paperwork, and then they get more bureaucrats because that justifies the previous bureaucrat's job. So you have different layers being added on all the time, and it gets big and bloated and useless, and then nothing gets done. So, yeah, I don't like this government snitching thing. I think that's very, very dangerous. Next thing you know, they'll be adjusting the Patriot Act to include these snitch hotlines so that they can create files on citizens. If you think it can't be done, look up the Stasi in East Germany.
Do you remember those people who went on TV and actually said that, Trump is going to be just like Hitler? And Hitler didn't start that first day with concentration camps. He didn't start the first day with, that's something you work up to. The funny part of this is, Jack, he's not the one doing any of this stuff. All of this stuff that you're pointing to, that we're leading to that kind of shit. It's not coming from the guy that they said was going to do it. It's coming from the people who were pointing the finger.
Oh yeah, that's because they're the ones with that ideology.
Yeah, I've always questioned, whether they're saying that because that's what they would do with the power, or if they honestly believed it about Trump. And I guess we have our answer.
Yeah.
I guess we have our answer.
Yeah, Deck Train's pointing out death panels and human rights tribunals.
Yep.
Those will be coming because if we are short on ventilators, they're going to make decisions as to who gets one and who doesn't. And if you're not an entirely perfectly healthy person that's got a good chance of surviving, you're not getting one. That's all there is to it. So
they're gonna be like, I'm sorry, Jack, you're on the show with Monkey. We're not giving you a ventilator.
yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Sir Wolfgang, over on the Streamlabs. Where are we at? It's time. Is it time for a boogaloo? I feel it's time for a boogaloo. Why is boogaloo coming back? Why has this become a thing? Because to me, boogaloo will always be breaking two.
Yeah, well, it's used more for code now because you can't use certain phraseologies anymore. Like terms like Civil War tend to get scrubbed.
No, I'm not letting you have boogaloo, guys. You guys got to pick something else.
It's way too late. It's been a thing for a couple years now. I'm
fighting back, Jack. I'm taking it back. I'm taking back boogaloo. If you're not breakdancing, you can't say it.
Well, there may be breakdancing involved. We don't know. It might be a you got served sort of war.
If you can't backspin, I don't want to see it. I'm sorry.
But yeah,
at least need to be able to do the robot.
That's part of your victory dance. But as far as that goes, I think if we're not careful, we could definitely be on the road to that.
Gamer Valine, thank you. But Brando's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes. What is Brando's?
Brondos. It's a reference from a movie, Idiocracy.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you should. It's pretty funny. But they're feeding the plants like a Gatorade knockoff because it's got the electrolytes that plants crave.
And several people have mentioned they're going to watch P-Dog. Please do. This is his normal time for streaming. If that's what you normally do, I'm not offended at all if you go watch his show instead of this one. This one, you can catch the end at any time. I don't take these down unless I accidentally show vagina. And even that was an accident because I wasn't trying to take the whole thing down. Oops. Speaking of funny movies, Jack, yesterday, my wife suggested that we watch the Impractical Jokers movie. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot that's out. And it's on Amazon. So I bought it for $10, guys. It's on Amazon for $10 on Prime. I laughed so fucking hard. So fucking hard. I didn't know what to expect. If you guys know what the Impractical Jokers are, you know the Impractical Jokers, right?
Yeah.
These are four guys who challenge each other to do really stupid shit. And it's funny as hell on the show. And they announced the movie. Like, how the hell are they going to do a movie? Jack, it is so 80s. It is so fucking 80s. I've been dying for a movie like this. They go back in time and they show this moment where they pissed off Paula Abdul. It's fucking great. The whole movie's about them going to try to go to a party with Paula Abdul. But then they stop along the way and they do these different challenges, of course. And whoever loses doesn't get to go to the party because they only got 3 tickets. I'm not going to ruin anything. That's as much as I'll tell you. It was fucking wonderful. I highly recommend it. It is juvenile humor. So if you don't like juvenile humor, don't go watch it. Monkey said this would be funny. You have to have a sense of humor, not a sense of outrage. But yeah, there were several parts, man. I missed like the next minute of what happened because I was laughing so hard.
Nice.
Yeah, I highly recommend if you guys enjoy, especially if you enjoy the show, go watch it. But yeah, I'm just like, God, I don't even know what to see. If it's just a whole movie of them, it's not. There's a plot and everything to it. It's great. Citron, thank you. How bad do you think it'll get before it settles? Oof. I don't know if I can answer that. Real quick, let me get this other one. Okay, Native, thank you. Do the Jack or not Jack streams get more views? No offense to my partner here, but it doesn't seem to matter. It seems to be more based on the time of day that I do it than who's with me. I enjoy them more when Jack's here. And frankly, it's my show, so that's what counts to me. Look, I like getting views, but if I got less views with Jack here, I'd be like, fuck it, I'm getting less views. And real quick, M says, box office 10.7 million, budget 3 million. Yeah, that used to be how they did movies. That's $7 million profit right there.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. And like I said, Jack, you should watch. It is a purely 80s kind of movie. Like, this is fucking dumb, but it's great. But back to Citron's question. How bad do I think it'll get? Okay, you know what, Citron, you don't have to donate for this, but I mean, if you want to, please do. But are you talking about COVID or are you talking about the division in the country? Because those are two separate but equal questions.
I think they're kind of interrelated at this point. Because if the lockdown shit keeps going, you're going to see more and more authoritarianism popping up. Because they're going to overreact to any opening ideas and start throwing more barbers in jail and all this other shit.
Well, I talked back during the election about how I thought Bernie was dangerous, and not in this election necessarily, but in the long run, because the more his ideas out there, the more popular it'll get. Even just the fact that we're talking about it, you know, it tends to pull dummies in, and then the dummies, their mass, and eventually, yes, we end up with universal health care, which calling it healthcare is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
But it's just, if the idea gets out there and it's caught on at all, there's a good chance it'll be implemented, especially when you have so many young people calling for it, because eventually they will get to vote and eventually they will get to influence our country. Real quick, Sir Wolfgang, thank you. I don't know about a full-scale civil war, but how long do you think groups of left and right-wing people are taking pot shots at each other in the streets? We've already seen that. I mean, to a point. That blew up with the Antifa riots. I'm sorry, protests a couple years ago. Settled down with those pretty much being limited to Portland. Will it happen again? Probably. If you're talking about actual shots fired, I don't think you'll see that for a while. I think these lefties, they talk a big game, but they're generally a bunch of pussies. You ever see them when they actually hit somebody?
They look surprised.
And then they run.
Yeah.
They'll run up and they smack like sorry, I don't mean to be sexist. They smack like a little girl, and then they run. Like, you're such a pussy. Stand up and fight, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's why people like that tend to use others to do their dirty work. They'll convince like that the lefties that are in charge will use the police as proxies for their fighters. They tend to choose champions as opposed to getting out and getting their own hands dirty.
And let's say you have Antifa line up against a group of whatever right winger, you know, let's say the Proud Boys, right? And some fucking Antifa dude whips out a gun and fires it. It's going to look like the St. Valentine's Day massacre when the other side pulls out their guns. Like, oh, really, bitch? And just light the bitch up because
then you've got a real problem.
Then you got a real problem. But back to the question, Citron has an answer. So with the virus, it's gonna settle when it stops killing as many people. It's not going to go away until we have either a cure or a vaccine, which is probably no closer than a year away.
Yeah, it might mutate into something less harmful, but I don't know. That's still ways off. It's going to be a while.
I think we'll probably build the more herd immunity side of it before we ever actually get anything that'll cure it. So
yeah.
As if we're talking about society in general, if we're talking about the division in the country, I don't know. I just don't know if there's a answer, to be honest.
But there seems to be a lot of factors in play on that, like what party ends up in control, how far they're willing to push or lie, cheat, and steal to get in office. You know, what ideas become popular. And honestly, I see a lot of people just going along to get along these days, and they're willing to capitulate and give up their freedom for a perceived security.
Yeah.
And that worries me. I don't see a lot of good things coming out of this so far. Other than there are some people that are really fired up and annoyed by all the closures and everything that don't seem to be actually affecting us in a good way.
As long as the press is on the side of the left, I think you're going to see division get more and more outrageous, especially with Trump as president, because they hate this man in a derangement is the only right word, Jack. They're deranged when it comes to him.
Well, he's not one of the polished Yale elitist types. He's not some born and bred academic or lawyer. He's crass and abrasive, and they hate that. They see him as an unrefined oaf, and they cannot fathom why we would vote for somebody like that.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know. He isn't tame and doesn't play by their rules. Snow, you're not wrong there. It's it drives them insane. I've said from the beginning, there's two things Donald Trump did. He switched sides because he's always been a New York Democrat. He is, guys. That's what he was.
Yeah.
But so he betrayed them, and you can't have that. And then he was supposed to go away when he announced, and they all called him racist. Because at the time, that's how you canceled somebody. He's a racist, gone. And his campaign, it died for about a week or two. I forget exactly how long it was between that and when what was her name, Kate Steinle?
Oh yeah.
When she got shot. That brought Trump back in a way that, and Trump never apologized for what he said. He's like, you guys are lying about what I said. And nobody was listening because they decided, yes, he's done. And then she died. And he's like, I told you. This is a man who was deported 5 fucking times, living in a sanctuary city, killed a woman. And that brought Trump back. And they're like, wait, we were supposed to have killed him. And so they kept throwing shit at him. And I don't know if it was just lucky timing. I mean, that part was. But every time they would throw shit at him, a story would come up and like, Trump's right. And they hated it. They hated it. And they hate him now because the same shit keeps happening.
Yeah.
Every time they try to beat him down, it's like, he comes back like, told you.
And his views haven't changed in decades. Like he was talking about NAFTA back in the day, saying what a terrible thing for American jobs this was. He was talking about illegal immigration. He's on Oprah's show several times talking about this stuff. And in the news on Larry King, stuff like that. He's a known personality. His views have been pretty consistent. I don't think they grasp the concept that they can't destroy everything they hate. And that annoys them to no end.
But when it comes especially to a presidential candidate, they should be able to do that. They've done it before. It was funny watching the press actually root for Ted Cruz. Yeah. The press doesn't like Ted Cruz at all. He is the antichrist to them.
Yeah.
This is a dyed-in-the-wool, hardcore Christian conservative Republican. And they were cheering for him because Trump.
Because he's safe and predictable compared to Trump. They know what works to tear people like him down.
And look, that's again, I'm not a huge Trump fan. Trump has said some really stupid things. He's done some stupid things. But I'm enjoying watching it. But to the point of the question, I think that is going to be a huge problem. I think if you want to see things die down, we need a Democrat president. That doesn't mean that's a good thing. I think right now we need a fight. Not necessarily a physical one, Jack.
Yeah, but an ideological fight.
Absolutely. The culture war is what they used to call it, the culture war. And too many people associated that with just blue-haired SJWs. It's more than that. It's more than that.
SJWs.
I saw a question on Twitter yesterday. Somebody said, when did Red Pill become Republican?
Yeah.
And that's a fair question because Republicans have their problems too. But Red Pill became a thing because of crazy leftists. And as long as crazy leftists are still, crazy, the Red Pill was, opening your eyes to the stupid shit they're saying. That doesn't mean Republicans don't say stupid shit. You should just be, what is it, Black Pill, Jay?
Yes.
You should be looking at everything and being like, I have questions. If you don't have questions, you're not doing it right. And that's why you come to us, because we have answers.
And we're black-pilled.
We are. I'm so black-pilled it made my dick bigger. I made a joke to my son. We ordered pizza the other day. And they got a medium, and they were talking about the different sizes. And I told them, I want to open a pizza parlor. And I want the sizes of my pizzas to be Asian, white, and black. And my son, he goes, Well, shouldn't the large one be white? Because they probably eat more pizza. I'm like, and my older son, he's like, I don't think that's what he meant. And that's who I am at home, guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap up there. Thank you so very much for watching. Thank you so much for the donations. You guys, you humble me with that. And I say that a lot, but it is true. The fact that you guys care not only to listen, but to also financially support me and Jack is it's humbling. And I appreciate it. I really do.
Absolutely.
Jack, is there anything you'd like to show?
I'll throw a link to a video in there, but thank you guys for the donations. You're all amazing.
Tonight is Monday, so we're going to be on Satsu 2 Cents' channel at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for Lords of the Night. Then over on 2 Cents Plus playing some more Fallout 76. We finished the Brotherhood mission yesterday, so we should be getting into something else tonight. And it'll be a lot of fun. Run away, Simeon, run away before I give you costume shit in Fallout 76. I'll probably be on 76 in a little bit, guys, if you want to hang out. I'll probably be in my private server for a little bit, but you guys can jump in if you're friends of mine. There's something else. Oh, guys, don't forget to go watch P Dog Night. That's PDAWG Night. Do you have his link by chance?
I'll pull it up real quick.
He's live right now over on his channel doing the morning night live. Good friend of the show, good guy and smart, man. I'll warn you, he is a person of color. I don't want you to go over there and go, oh my God, it's a black man. Yes, he's a black man. I don't know why I warned him about that.
In case he's at a construction site. Oh.
You ever heard his voice? Of course he's black.
Yeah, he has a great narration voice.
He does. And I love my voice, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm very conceited, but I'm like, that is not fair.
No, he should be doing like voiceovers for like kids' movies and stuff.
Yes.
He has that awesome, like, dulcet tones.
He's also a really smart guy and really funny too. So go check him out, guys. Thank you for watching. Jack, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. Throat, thank you for almost hanging in there. Jesus Christ. Everybody, enjoy your Monday. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
My dick